Good evening, folks. Welcome here. Dadman walking 55, 8 p.m. on the East Coast. Well, 2 minutes after, but hey, it's a couple minutes making sure we got the tweets out, got the notifications going, whatever else there is on a pre-stream countdown, making sure I don't boomer it and mess it up right at the bat. So, hey, you know, it's Monday. Why not? We'll talk about sports that are coming up, some random news stories. Feel free to make sports jokes, and we'll have fun together. Even if you don't like jokes, even if you don't like sports, we'll find ways to have even more jokes with it. And hey, maybe we'll get the fake seafood and throw it out to everybody out in the chat because I know we got somebody out there looking for fish. So, but hey, before we get going too much further, let me bring in somebody that's going to help me tonight because some of our stories we're going to talk about can use a little extra help. So, hey, Whoopa Troopa, welcome, my friend.
Hello, what's up?
Hey, not much. How are you tonight? Thank you for joining me tonight.
Yeah, no problem.
Absolutely. Well, just to tell you and tell the chat is this Monday night show is a new show that I want to run because Whoopa and I have a Friday night at 8 o'clock weekly show as long as the XFL keeps going, just a couple more weeks. And this is a show that I'm going to do a lot of times as a solo show. And I periodically have guests like Whoopa on and stuff like that for their expertise and their feedback and stuff. And trying to roll this out to keep the sports going throughout the year. Unlike college football season or the XFL or when we did with the NFL where we were so intensive on one sport, we just kind of hit it in a general sense and hit with the headlines along the way. And as always, we love talking sports. Please ask your sports questions. If if you don't know anything in sports, ask it. If we're using weird words, ask us. We love to talk. I love to talk, period. But hey, even better about football. Whoopa loves football, loves Pokemon. So whatever you want to talk about, we're here to sit back, have some fun together, and learn some things, and work off some energy, and to just have some fun together. All right. Hey, so Whoopa, how's your day been?
Well, it's been good. I was about an hour and a half late from work because I forgot all the way to work, and then I realized I forgot my work computer. But other than that,
oh, ouch! Oh man, is that bringing it home or taking it to work?
Taking it to work.
Ooh, yeah, I hate that when that happens to me too. That's why I hate taking my computer home. So,
yeah, it's less than ideal.
Yeah,
we're supposed to take it home.
Oh, you are? What is they want you to work from home?
No, they just I don't know. They just don't want us to keep it there. I really don't know. I don't know why my work does the things that they do.
Well, I think that's almost universal for so many people. So, hey.
Yeah.
Well, obviously this weekend was a long weekend with your Battlehawks. Any quick thoughts, or do you want to save it for Friday?
I'll save it for Friday.
All right. Well, hey, hopefully tonight you'll have some fun, get you back in the mood for sports, renew your hope for sports that are out there. So let's go ahead and greet the chat, shall we?
All right.
Here, I'll turn the banners on in a second. But hey, we got 4 people watching us. But hey, first off, we got the great, the incredible, the polar bear, Snortopupus Cuber. Hello, humans and other critters. Howdy, Snortopupus. Great to see you as always.
Hello.
Exactly. So, and let's see, we go down and we got a great here. Snortopupus, yeah, I agree. Calling all drunks. We'll take everybody. We are still one away from getting to 225 subscribers. It's so close. And I was telling Whoopa backstage, my numbers, if it's at 24, it drives me close to 25. It's an OCD thing. 99 drives me crazy. I want 00, or 49 drives me crazy. I want 50. Nice round numbers. So let's get that one tonight and have an after party with some Fortnite. But hey, Snortopupus, great here. Greetings to the wonderful, the classy Daisy Blossom Flower Child, my friend. Great to have you here tonight. As always, we are here. And hell to the great O.C. Dobbins. hell back to you, sir. Great to see you again here in the chat, and hopefully we can talk some good sports, uh, a mixture of things tonight. And hey, feel free to chat away with us. If we hit a topic that you like, I had already told Whoopa that some part of it I'm going to get stuck on us a little bit towards my uh, part of the country for a little bit, but we'll see. We got a lot of stuff to run in tonight, so we'll see how it goes. Lots of hellos, and let's see. Snorta Poopas, how about four-dimensional tiddlywinks? Well, I'm up for that. We can talk about that. Have you heard about that, Whoopa?
I'm not sure. That's not my area of expertise. I'm more of an underwater basket weaving kind of guy.
Underwater basket weaving. Well, that's something for another time. But hey, we can consider that. I'm sure there's a YouTube video for it. And the great Stunning and Brave Megatron is with us. Howdy, great Stunning and Brave. I'm drunk on life, if that counts. We always love drunk on life. That's a good type of drunk. So, hey, with that, now let me hit the banners because I usually forget to. So, oh my goodness, Whoopa, it's been kind of a crazy day, crazy weekend with sports. I mean, things have advanced. Currently, what is in my wheelhouse right now is the New Jersey Devils are on the road at the Rangers, and the Devils are down in the series 2-1, but they're up tonight 1-0 over New York, in New York. Mm. What's so crazy is the Devils, which is my team, Mark D with a C, is a Ranger fan. Well, the thing is, the road teams have won the first 3 games.
Mm.
Yeah, the New York won. So New York won 2 in New Jersey, and now the Devils are trying to blank. Trying to even up the series in New York. So, and you know what I hate with my Roku? It automatically brings up automatically every time you like turn it off, turn it back on. It brings back up the closed captioning, and it's like I don't want it. It gets in the way. It gets in the way of the score of the words and stuff.
I agree.
Absolutely.
I'm not a fan of closed caption.
Yeah, I know. It's fine when you're laying in a movie and trying to read the words of what's going on, but for a sporting event, it really does not help. It does not help. So there. But yeah, with 16 minutes in the second period left, New Jersey trying to even up the series. So, yep, still 1-0. So, hey, speaking of hockey, my friends, with 4 people here, hey, welcome. Make sure you follow us on Twitter and at Dadman Walking 55. Leave a follow on the Twitch side. If you have a Twitch account too, follow us over there. But on this YouTube side, hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. One more sub. We're at 224 right now, and let's try to get to 225 tonight because after tonight I will not be streaming for a few days. I have a out of town work commitment, and so I will be off for a little bit, and my mods will get a couple days off, and they're gonna be like, "Thank God he's finally stopped," because I think it's been at least 10 streams since last Sunday, and it's been fun.
Oh, wow.
It's been fun.
You have been pretty active.
Well, I have these couple days coming off, and in May, I'm going to be taking 2.5 weeks off, close to it because of a big trip coming down the road that I've alluded to. So I'm trying to get the streaming in, and you know what I've noticed since Friday, I've gotten, let's see, I was at 205 and I'm at 225. I've got 19 subs since Thursday or Friday. So it's been great. It's great to get that, like I told you, to that number. But you know what I think's great? Whoopa, you came on with me tonight, my friend. Today, and with these great people in the chat. When you look at the people that are with us here, what's that?
I want to get out of the game. Can you do that?
Oh, sorry. Mrs. I'm trying to help her with the switch.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
That red back arrow. So.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry.
Hi, Mrs.
Hi. Whoopa says hi.
Hi.
And the chat will say hi too. Yeah, I had to tech support the missus on that for how to use her Switch, because so she can play some Fortnite the next 2 nights, if
That's not gonna.
if possible.
Just
What's
get
that?
me out of it. Sorry, guys. I
Uh,
just want to close the game.
Okay, that and hit exit. Oh, you want to close the game completely?
Yeah, I want to leave it.
Go there and hit
Okay.
hit X to close software.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry, guys.
Sorry. All right. Oh, you're getting a heart from the from Daisy Blossom. Snortopoopas waves a paw at you.
I wave a call
OC
back.
OC Dobbin says hello.
Hello.
And Stunning says he got Lego today.
Yay!
So hey, awesome. And thank you for that retweet, Daisy. Appreciate it. Right now. Yes, exactly. Let's get to 225 and have fun. But in the meantime, got you wonderful people here in the chat with us. We're going to talk some sports and have some fun. Like I've said, if you have questions of sports, ask it. If you have thoughts about what we talk about, please feel free to throw it in there. And let's have a good old time. And it looks like the Devils are still. Let's see. There's a penalty that's go. Let's see. Looks like the Rangers might have gotten called for interference. So,
Haha, take that.
Yep. Devil power play. All right. So anyway, all right. Speaking of hockey, let's go to the first story news of the night. Okay, we're going to look at the current standings in the NHL. Uh-oh. Hit the right screen. Hit the right buttons, folks. Pressure.
Boomerang, it's happening.
Yeah. Let's see before I get started. Nothing too fancy, just some parts I ordered for classified Lego project that may be turned into a build stream next couple months. That's awesome. Hey, Mrs. really loves those Legos. We go to our local Lego store or even the one down in Orlando, and she'll get all the little pieces, and you should see the way she puts those pieces into the box. It is amazing that her mastery. I tell you, my wife can pack a friggin' 3-bedroom house in our minivan. It's crazy. And Daisy says for later, go Knights, go. Yay. So we'll look at the status of all the teams right now. So let us go here. We will look at this at the current lineup. Tonight's games are, no, not tonight. No, wrong date. Tonight's games, April 24th, we got 4 games on tap. New Jersey, New York are playing now, and the Devils still are holding up to that 1-0 lead. What is really cool in this series, like I said, the road team has won every game. And like I told Whoopa, that's good for New Jersey because when New Jersey's hot, they win on the road. But the problem is they got 4 home games. They got to win at least one of them at home. At some point, you got to win at home. That's, how that goes. So interesting. My friend Mark D with a C and I really disagreed on this game, on this series. He's a Rangers guy. I'm a Devils guy. And it just was it's fun to, it's always fun when you get in the playoffs, when you get to play teams against friends of yours, with a little friendly rivalry.
Mm-hmm.
There's an odd story. Yeah, it does. It can. But you know what? There was a you should, because I think Mrs. has been kicking that around too. Like a tour. But
Legos are awesome.
They are very awesome. But somebody asked me, and it might have been Daisy. There was somebody that asked me, how does a Florida guy follow the New Jersey Devils hockey? And I don't remember. It was on a stream somewhere last night, I think. And maybe it was over Mark's channel. But I tell you, for those that don't know the story, how I started following the New Jersey Devils and the Oregon State Beavers, really for that matter, was back in probably 1981, 1982, when we had a newspaper, those things that had ink and on paper. Well, it was the evening paper.
Back in the 1850s.
Back in the 1850s, and we had to walk everywhere. But I just love box scores. I baseball box scores. I read the print off of everything. So I finally decided, you know what? These poor teams, they suck so badly. The Oregon State had like no wins. The Devils were like really way bad at the bottom. Uh, oh, anytime that you're in, I know that they love to hear from you, Mrs. So, and plus they know that you have bailed my butt out many a times. So, all good. But yeah, so I just said, I wanted all the suck teams. It was the Oregon State Beavers, the New Jersey Devils, the University of Texas El Paso Miners, and
UTEP.
UTEP. Yep. And there was one other, I think, that obviously I forgot. I just dumped over the years, but those are the three ones that stuck with me. And what's so funny with it was the late 80s. We really didn't cable, I think, till the early 90s. But and even then there was not a lot. But when ESPN started finally getting those showing hockey and all this stuff more often, and I got to watch the Stanley Cups in the mid 90s, I really got to cheer for my teams. The Devils got really good. The Beavers, under Dennis Erickson, Chado Josinko,
Josinko.
all those guys. Great teams that I got to enjoy those seasons over the years because my Gators stunk back then, but more on the Gators later. So hey, but back to the thing. New Jersey's up in this game 1-0, trying to tie it to go back to New Jersey. We've got a Toronto Tampa Bay is also should be on now. There's not.
That's on. Tampa Bay is up 1-0.
All right, Tampa Bay's up 1. I'm always afraid of refreshing a screen because I'll kill it. Actually, let me refresh it. If I kill the stream, then oh well. At least I know not to switch games on my PS4 anymore. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Oh, this one didn't have the score. So there we go up top. So hey. All right, New Jersey up 1-0. End of the first for Tampa Bay up 2-0. Wow, Tampa Bay on the road. Scored. Yeah.
Maybe I need to refresh mine because it was.
Hey, yeah.
Tampa Bay's at home, I think.
Yep, Tampa Bay's at home. Yep. So Tampa Bay's also looking to even the series up tonight, but at home. Game on TBS. As already said, for the great Daisy Blossom, I will bring this back up, my friend. Go Knights go. We have the Vegas Knights at Winnipeg. Vegas leads the series 2-1. That game will be over on ESPN. And the nightcap is Colorado at Seattle, 10 p.m. on TBS. Colorado leads that series 2-1. All right. So you don't completely hate the town and city out Seattle, though. Not yet, anyway.
The Kraken are cool. I like them. They're the. No offense to Daisy Blossom, but they're the better NHL expansion team. No one likes Vegas. They're dirty, rotten cap circumventers.
Circumventers, yeah.
It's that's them and Tampa Bay. But I want to root for Tampa Bay to win this series because that means that Toronto keeps getting to lose, and it's funny.
Oh yeah. Well, what's so funny? What's so funny is that I was looking at all these things like the low ass ticket prices, and like some of them, Winnipeg you can get at $79, and Colorado Seattle $170.
Winnipeg, I think, is the smallest. I think Winnipeg is the smallest market of all the NHL teams because it's just not that big of a city, but it's they're pretty big into hockey. It's just you gotta get a lot of the people going to every game.
Yep.
So
yeah, exactly. So so that's tonight's matchups. We'll keep an eye on these matchups on this game here. There's about 11 and a half minutes. The only problem with turning around is I hope y'all can hear me, and I'm like, turn back around. That's what I need to do. I need to reposition things to be able to see a TV without having to look around or put up a reflection mirror or something. But that's tonight's matchups. Tomorrow night, we've got New York, Carolina. Carolina leads this series 3-1, can wrap it up at home. Minnesota at Dallas at 8 o'clock on TBS. That series is tied at 2, which I thought was going to go that way. Two fairly balanced. Minnesota at Dallas.
Oh yeah, I'm hoping Dallas wins because Minnesota's rude.
I think that's one that had a pretty even matchup where I was thinking probably get 7 games with those two. Los Angeles Kings and the Edmonton Oilers, they're tied at 2 also at
The
9:30
King,
tomorrow night.
the Kings are
Mm-hmm.
taking it. I'm going with the Kings.
All righty. Well,
Edmonton,
what?
they can't handle the smoke.
Yeah. No, not at all. Gretzky's still come out of retirement, right? Yeah. I and then on Wednesday there are 2 games. It's the eighth game of the Seattle and Colorado for some reason playing a little bit earlier than the others that are played tonight. But tomorrow night the last matchup is still in this first round is the Florida Panthers at the Boston Bruins. Boston leads the series 3 games to 1, which that should be expected to be a elimination game, and Boston would advance, I would think. What say
Yeah, I
you?
gotta imagine. So Boston is a pretty good team this year. I think they're by and far the heavy favorites.
Yeah, I mean it's so funny. They were like 20 something points ahead of the next, like Carolina, and the Devils were right behind Carolina. But just amazing, amazing team. I got to watch the Devils play them in a one of the last regular season games, um, and it was very interesting to watch because Boston exploded out quickly. Really, really quickly out of the gate and scored 2 goals very quickly on the Devils, who are really known for their defense. And then the Devils got a goal a little bit later um, in the first period, or I can't remember, second period. But they managed to tie things up, and then there was no more scoring.
Hmm.
It was like all of a sudden it became defensive hockey. And I tell you, Boston was impressive. I mean, when they could score, they scored. Uh, you could tell they had offensive talent, but then it was like they just they tell 2 games, that they could play both ways, and it was really interesting to see the way they shut the Devils down. Uh, it was crazy to see. It just, you thought maybe the Devils would come back. The Devils may have finally got it, but they really didn't challenge that much. They were limited in shots on goal, and really didn't get second chance points. Like rebounds, screening the goalies and stuff. It was really a dominating performance by Boston. And actually seeing them play was a very interesting. It's one thing to see their record on paper, but to actually watch them in a real life competition and actually playing a good team like New Jersey. New Jersey was very good this year, a much improved team over prior years.
And they loaded up at the deadline. They got Patrick Kane
Yep.
and Vladimir Tarasenko, both of them.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty big deals.
Exactly. So it'll be interesting to see how the playoffs go, especially in the Eastern side. So, but that's what we got with the NHL. Any other thoughts on any of the matchups so far, Whoopa, that you had?
No, we pretty much covered everything. A lot of the Minnesota and Dallas series is interesting, and it's been pretty physical lately. And then, other than that, I just really hope Toronto loses so we can continue to laugh at them.
Oh, I know. Hey, look at that. Not these are official ticket prices, but I love the little ticket prices down there. For Boston, tickets as low as $213. Wow.
As low as nice.
Give me the cheap Carolina price at $59. Even that's too much for me.
Poor Carolina. They've been a really good team, and it's just it's not the most popular sport down there.
No, I know. Well, it's like Florida. I will tell you, having 2 teams in Florida, it's amazing that they support both of them. Now, I tell you, it does help that they win.
The
that's
Panthers,
the thing, especially the Lightning.
That's the thing. The Panthers, they've had issues with support. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
And they've got a good team too, but I don't know, they just haven't put it together yet this year, really. I know they're in the playoffs, but just barely snuck in. They were kind of expected to be one of the heavy favorites.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Tampa Bay's always the one that gets me. Tampa Bay in baseball and hockey. They don't get the fan support, or they don't get a lot of this attention, but then they somehow put together very good seasons, and they don't just go away. They're really, really good. Oh,
I
hey,
wish.
Snortapoopus, there you go. Toronto does his spring training here. Oh, and baseball, yeah, we'll take a look at baseball in just a second. Toronto does spring training here. I like laughing at them. Hey, that's cool. I know. I think I hear Whoopa laughing at that one. So that's our hockey for tonight. Let me take a look at the scores. It's still 1-0, and
You want to say 1-0?
yeah, I was about to say 1-0, like for soccer, a little soccer lingo. Looks like the Rangers are on the power play though right now.
Uh-oh.
So yeah.
Hopefully you get a good
Rangers
penalty
on a
kill.
power play. Well, the Devils used to be good penalty killers, but we'll see what happens. We got 6 people watching. Thank you. Make sure you smash that like button. And we got Patrick Frostbeard. Welcome, my friend. Great to see you.
Hello.
Please come with questions. We have answers, or we'll make answers up. But we will have some fun with it. And the Devils just missed on a shorthanded breakaway. So, but hey, all righty. Welcome. Hey, go grab your friends. Let's get that one remainder out there for us. So, but as we referred to with Snortapoopus about Toronto and mentioning spring training, which is the Blue Jays, we are going to jump over to the Major League Baseball side right now. All righty. So let's see. Actually, I'll go back and update that in a second. Okay. And let's bring up some baseball if you like baseball, folks. Hey, welcome. You'll see the tonight's schedules. So since last week, oh my gosh, look at the Tampa Bay Rays again. We're talking about how they are good in hockey. They have great another season, and they're not a team that has the greatest salary, expenses. They've always been kind of on the low side of the here. Let me see. Hey, here. Oh wow. Patrick says, "Hey y'all," and Snortapoopus says, "If you don't know the answer, make something up that sounds good." I've got that. There's one time when I was officiating. There was one time, I will tell you, I was officiating this last month, a couple months ago, and I blew the whistle, and I'm like, shoot. But I sure made up something, and I stuck with it because I was like, I blew the whistle. Then you got to call something. I called the closest thing I could call, but yeah, make it up, make it till you fake it, or make it whatever that saying is. But hey, yes, exactly. Something like that. It's stunning. Not to give away my current position, but I actually got to skate on an official NHL rink twice where I live, back when I used to play hockey in my youngster days. Oh, wow. Hey, didn't know you played hockey. That's awesome, Stunning. Good to hear that.
I barely know how to skate at all. So
yeah. I've never been ice skating. I'm lucky to be roller skating and not falling on my butt. So, it's I was even nervous on roller skates. So looks like the Devils killed the penalty, I think. So we'll see what happens. Like I said, the stupid closed captioning's on it. So either New York scored or the Devils killed the penalty. So, hey, anyway, we'll move on. But back to the baseball standings here. The first thing I look at is Tampa Bay Rays at 19-3. And they're undefeated at home, 13 in a row at home. That is just amazing to have a start like that. I mean, because when you look at the rest of the American League, nobody is even close to that record. Best at home, maybe 7-3, it looks like. But 13-0, that is just amazing. And an 88-run differential, 5 wins in a row. It just astounding, that a team with that kind of production.
Yeah, no, they were really well. They started off, I think, with a 13-game win streak, which tied the record for longest out there. And I guess we'll see if it keeps up.
Mm-hmm.
But because they did play some easy teams.
But yeah. Yep, that happens.
A big thing is though you also have the other end of the spectrum.
Mhm.
Both Oakland and Kansas City are, it's still early, but they're on track to finish with the first and second worst record in MLB history. So
Yeah,
it's pretty
those,
rough.
especially Oakland, 182. That is just, and
But look at
outscored by
their
103 runs.
103 runs in 22 games. That's pretty bad.
Oh man, hey, I could go pitch for them probably at that point.
Probably.
You know, hey, we got 8 people
You'd be
watching us.
cheaper at
Did you
least.
know that? Hey, yeah, absolutely,
Nice.
yeah, exactly. Give me $100,000, or give me $200,000. I could probably retire on that. That'd be cool. Probably go straight on the DL, but who cares if I get, as long as I get paid, that's what counts. So thank you for everybody that's with us. Make sure you smash that like button, sub here on the YouTube side, and follow us on Twitch. We got 8 wonderful people following us. Glad you're here with us. And let me go back to hockey for just a second, since Stunning is telling us a little bit more about him. Played for about 6 years of ice hockey, then a couple summers of indoor hockey, and 1 summer of inline hockey, which is just indoor hockey but with rollerblades, which sucked to play in for me. You know what's so funny though? Hockey is one of those sports that is taken off in Florida, and I think a lot of it's because the Yankee transplants that have come down here. We got local skate rinks, and they've got kids leagues and stuff. Some of the colleges, universities like Florida or Florida State have club teams. They're not actually at the level of NCAA level, but they still play, and they play among other schools and stuff. So it has been one of those things, because in the 80s nobody knew what the hell hockey was. Us good southern people from Florida used to just pick on hockey and stuff. It wasn't even a sport. But with all the transplants, the advent of TV, and I tell you, I think some of it happened when you started getting to Tampa Bay or Florida. You had some local teams. It took some more civic pride. People got to know the game and things like that. So, snort a poop,
Yep.
who've been skidding on the ice like a bunch of drunk penguins.
Hmm.
What I love is when they start fighting like a bunch of drunk penguins too, though.
Well, there's a guy, you might know him. His name's Jack Hughes.
Oh yeah,
I think he was the first #1 pick from Florida.
it's just amazing. I mean, I did not know that, but I know, and I've watched him play with the Devils. Oh my God, the skating ability.
Oh
It's
yeah,
just amazing. He's fast. He's nifty, and he can make some passes that you would never believe. So
yeah, and his brother's on your team too, right? He's not up yet, but he got drafted.
Right, exactly.
I think he's going to be pretty good once he gets out of college. He's been really good.
Well, future's bright for New Jersey. Hey, all right. Patrick, hey, Patrick, we'll take that. You know about the Mighty Ducks. You know some sports. That's all you need to do. And even if you don't, we'll help you, buddy. We'll help you. So, so it looks like about 3:50 left. We're still at something on the ice. But hey, back to baseball, though. What's interesting, I think, is imagine if you took the Twins are leading the Central at 12-10, which means they would be 8 games back if they were in the division with the Rays.
Oh yeah,
Look at the East. Everybody's over 500 in the East, and look, Boston's already almost 8 games back.
The East is AL East is scary. It's everyone's good. Like the worst team is the Red Sox, which I mean they're the Red Sox. They always got a shot, and they spent a lot of money this offseason.
Yeah, we need Carol. We need Carol here, Red Sox, for the whole Boston representation. But yeah, see, the Yankees are at 13-9 with 6 games back. So I mean, in the old days with no expanded playoffs, you'd be in trouble already. But it's with wild cards and stuff like that. Used to was with 2 divisions, you had to win your division. It made it tougher. So.
Yeah,
and even the Rangers at 14-7 would be 4.5 games back. Just
the
amazing.
Raiders are another team that spent a lot of money this offseason. They signed Jacob DeGrom. He's been healthy so far. It's still early. He's got a lot of chance to get hurt.
Man.
Still, seems like it happens every year.
Yeah. Oh man, sorry to hear about that, Stunning. But hey, you developed into a hell of an artist, man. Though, although I do agree, flat food is bad too. But we got you, man. Hey, I know, but hey, thank y'all for hanging out with us tonight. We're taking a look at some sports. We're gonna move into some other sports in just a second. Let's look at the National League there real quick. Um, and we got the Atlanta Braves leading in the East. By the way, if y'all got comments out there, even if you're just lurking, or whatever, give us your feedback about hockey. Who do you want? Things like that. Let's talk baseball now in this spot. If you follow baseball, let us know. Just feel free to shout out, and we'll have some fun together here with that. Braves. Braves are like obsessive here in the South, and it's amazing they've gotten good again. This is a surprise to see to me, and like I said, I'll be honest. I have been out of baseball for years, and we've talked about this in previous shows. But the Pittsburgh Pirates leading the Central.
It's a big surprise. They're leading the whole National League. They're right behind the Rays, and this is a huge surprise because the Pirates last year they had a 100-loss season, and the only people they brought in that I know of, they brought back Andrew McCutchen, who's a veteran guy, but he's
I remember when he shipped out too. Point. Yeah, but he shipped out when he was younger, and wow, now he's back.
Yep, and then they brought in some guy. What's his name? Ji-Man Choi. Who, I mean, he's not a superstar. He's not bad, but he's a first baseman who kind of hits a little bit above average usually.
Yeah.
So, that's not enough that you'd expect them to do much. Go from 100-loss team to leading the National League.
Yeah, and Daisy's a Giants fan. Hey, at least you're only 3 games back. There's still hope. There's still hope. And Daisy says field hockey is savage. Yes, it can.
Cardinals are playing the Giants today.
Uh-huh. Well, let me look at something.
That we win.
Go ahead.
I'm hoping that we win. Our team is suck.
Well, I'm curious about something. Since I used to follow the Cubs a lot. So let me click on them right now and see. I'm curious about the roster. Let's see. Okay, well, let's see.
They've had a lot of upheaval lately.
Yeah. Spring training. Yeah, looks like it. I'm just curious about the roster. Like, I wonder if there are any names I recognize. So,
probably not. When's the last time you paid attention to him?
Chris Bryant was a third baseman, and he got shipped off many years ago. I remember when he came up in the minor leagues, though, because
you might remember one guy then on this roster, probably.
Oh my god, I don't know any of them. Wow. Hey, they only got 3 outfielders? How the hell do you do that?
Yeah, I think some of it is they've been playing Patrick Wisdom as an outfielder, which is pretty wild because he's a third baseman by trade. And I think Trey Mancini has experience in the outfield. Not that he's the best outfielder, but you can throw him on the corner.
I know enough about baseball to know that these are not household names. And I'm like,
well, some of them are, but a lot of them that were like Cody Bellinger won MVP, but he fell off. But he, like Geek Talk says, he's been killing it right now. I kind of hope he stops because I don't like the Cubs.
Oh, hey, Geek Talk. Hey, well, that was welcome in, Geek Talk. Hey, Brandon G. Hey, welcome. Glad to have you tonight. Thanks for being here.
He's a former MVP, but the last 2 years he was doing pretty bad. So he ended up getting let go by the Dodgers. And you have Eric Hosmer. He used to be a household name, but that was 5-6 years ago. He's not necessarily been that lately.
No, I know. It's funny how that happens.
So the Cubs only have one player from their 2016 championship left on their roster. I like to joke about it. The Cardinals signed Wilson Contreras this offseason, so I can say Cardinals have the same amount of 2016 World Series champion Cubs as the Cubs do.
Well, which player is it then? Because
Kyle Hendricks is a pitcher.
Okay, jeez. Let's see. Kyle Hendricks. Oh, I don't even see him on the roster here.
Is he hurt?
So,
Might be hurt, maybe.
maybe, but hey, well, either way, I'm like, oh my gosh. I mean, are they saving payroll or what? I
They no they shelled out this year. They signed Bellinger to a big 1 year
mhm.
contract. Marcus Stroman was a big deal. He didn't have a good year last year, and then they just gave big money to Dansby Swanson. He says you might know that he was on the Braves last year.
Mm. Okay. No, I really have not followed a break. I've been like baseball is one of my weaker ones because of different things. And I'm going to try to get back into it. I like talking sports, and like I said, I'll get back up to speed with things and stuff. How we go. So we got 13 people here now. Holy crap, folks! Hey, welcome all y'all that came in. Thank you. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe on this side if you have not. Hey, we're trying to get to 250. Well, we do want to get to 250 eventually, but get to 225 at least tonight. So, as Snorta Poopa said earlier, calling all drunks, or go get your pets, neighbors, dogs, or whoever to come in. But thank y'all for being here. We just had Geek Talk come in. Thank you so much. But the wonderful Mod Balzette is here, my friend. Thank you. Always a pleasure to see you. Always a pleasure to see you, my friend. So, that's the Cubs. I don't know. Do you have the? Did you ever buy the sports package or for baseball coverage, or do you just?
No, I didn't buy that. They've really bumped up the prices, and I'm still mad about stuff they've been doing. So I'm not giving them money if I can help.
I understand that, and that's a debate that people can have, especially with the expenses. Sometimes you're better off to wait for the games of the weeks and stuff. Uh-oh. What? What video? Oh my gosh. Uh-oh. That's scary. Gayland folks. Hey. All right. Well, we still got. Hey. All right. So we were over in the National League again before I got distracted about the damn Pittsburgh Pirates, man. Dang. I just like. That's crazy. The East, the Braves. Everybody's loved the Braves here, but the Marlins are actually close with 12-10. But the home of the throwing winners, Philadelphia Phillies, under 500 again. Maybe if they save their damn hot dogs and eat them instead of throwing them at people, it would be better for them. The Central looks kind of competitive, though.
Yeah, it's surprising. I think a lot of people. I mean, the AL Central is pretty weak, and I think people expected I mean me as well, expected the NL Central to be the same, but they've been doing pretty well, pretty competitive.
Mm-hmm. Well, and
I almost wish they weren't because I'm trying to hope the Cardinals can get in. They're not doing great.
Well, when you look at the West, it's like everybody's just average. It's the meh. That's why I'm saying for Daisy Blossom, you're not out of it yet.
The West is interesting because the Padres and the Dodgers have both started off slow.
Hey, look at this one. Go Phils, and then hey, easy boys. Oh my gosh, see a brotherly love where they share their hot dogs with you. So,
well, did you hear? This is a little off topic, but since we're talking about Philadelphia, did you hear the story about I believe it's the Arizona Cardinals' new coach?
No.
He was talking about last. He was saying Philadelphia is a hard market to play for. He was talking about I guess he was online or something.
Mm-hmm.
And which if you're in sports, you should not go online. Don't Google yourself. Just chill. But he was saying it's like I saw a bunch of people saying I need to be fired, and he's like, we had the number one defense. What do they want me fired for?
Exactly. Tough crowd. I mean, I wish we had Courtney here too now. Mm-hmm. You got Geek Talk here, Brandon and Courtney together. Gannon. That must have been the coach's opponent.
Yep, that's him.
All right. Well, hey, thanks for jumping in here, Brandon. Love to have it. We love to hear what y'all think about stuff like that. Feel free to share it. Snorta Poop said, forget the hottie dogs, give me a cheesesteak. Hey, there you go. That's a classic Philly for you. So, but hey, Yeah, it is very interesting to see how the baseball season shaping up now. Uh, but like NFL and every other league, you see the good divisions, you see the average divisions. Like looks like the West in the National League is at like what up until last year, the NFC East in football was like the 500 league. Last year was the NFC South, and and it looks like in the American League it's the Central, where your best team is barely 500. So
Yeah, it's interesting. So one thing I did see that kind of puts it in perspective, as far as the baseball season goes, we're essentially in the equivalent of the top of the second.
mhm.
Uh,
Yes.
so there is, you can't put too much stock into things, but it's still important. Games in April matter just as much as games in October or in September. No, yeah, like September. Sorry, October's the playoffs. You're not getting to October unless you win before then. But yeah, it's interesting because the NL West that you were talking about was supposed to be pretty big,
Hmm.
and there's still a chance that it can. But the Dodgers lost a lot of pieces and did have some injuries, and the Padres, I just think they're overrated. They're well, that's a they bought their roster, and not that that doesn't always work, and they've traded some too. But there's a point
Well,
you can't just get you can't
yeah,
throw money at the best players. They have
and a lot of times when you do that, you wreck your minor league system. A lot of teams that do that have very bad or average minor league systems, and they can't replace cheaper players, younger players. They're so reliant on the free agents, and it's odd. It's a decision, but then again, you got the cheap franchises that won't spend the money that do try to bring up all the minor leaguers. Well, but I will say the Tampa Bay Rays are an example of a team that really started, and years ago they've had to always watch their salary cap and their salaries, so
mhm.
they've never really heavily invested in the top line free agents. But somehow they're able to develop through their farm system and bring players up and compete regularly and consistently. No matter who the manager is. So, but hey, that's where we are with Major League Baseball. Here's the update on it this season.
Yeah, I
Uh,
got you.
yeah, go ahead.
Shit.
Go ahead. Did you have a thought on that, Whoopa?
Oh,
Uh,
sorry, I was
no
internet
problem.
again.
Yeah.
But no, Tampa Bay has a very good farm system. They've been pretty good. They rarely lose a trade. I still think they will lose a trade that the Cardinals did. Everyone wants to say, "Oh, the Cardinals lost a trade. They lost a trade
Hmm.
because they traded away Randy Arozarena, and oh look, he was really good that one postseason.
Hmm.
He hasn't been
Yeah,
that good since. I mean, he's been good. He's been invaluable, but he hasn't been as good as people say.
absolutely.
And
Well,
we've
hey,
got
here's our friend Balzette though. With the Dominoes. She loves her Dominoes. Philly cheese tater tots. We know.
Philly cheese
Uh,
tater tots. That sounds a little
yeah.
interesting. I'd
I,
try it, but I'm not sure if I'd like it.
I think you would anything tater tots I like. So that's a
And
good
tater
one. I
tots are
feel.
good, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm a skeptic.
Uh,
What can I say?
Well, Geek Talk, Brandon's saying that Rays have a great farm system, but you need that all star to push you over the top.
That's
And
true.
the Rays are consistent, but got to spend that money to an extent. I agree. I do agree
Well,
with you on that.
they've ticked off Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay doesn't. Didn't they build their stadium in St. Petersburg or something? Where it's like, well,
Yeah, it's
who's going
over
to
on the
go to that
island.
stadium? Like, what are you guys doing?
Yep. Well, and that's the thing, and I think Snortopoopas might be able to help me with this. Yeah,
Help you with the
that
tater
that
tots?
no, yeah. Well, he'd probably eat them all, and I don't blame him. He deserves them, but yeah, he definitely would help me with the tater tots. But I think with those way the Tropicana field is over there on the island, it's hard for like a lot of people to do those weekday games, because Tampa traffic is beyond ridiculous. It's insane to see what you have to do to get through travel from one side out there to where the baseball field is. The population's not so heavy out there, and just traffic in that area is really not conducive to uh, a lot of a lot of weekday support. You get your crowds on the weekend, but weekdays harder. It's kind of like the Miami Marlins when they moved into downtown. I've not had a chance to look at their stats, their attendance numbers, but that would be interesting to look for them because they used to be up in on the county line where at Joe Robbie Stadium, which you could get to fairly easily because we did it once, and then all of a sudden, they moved into downtown Miami. Like, why the hell did you go into downtown Miami? But let me say hello to the great small time republic, our resident Auburn fan here, my friend. Hey, hello. If the Rays were ever to move, I wonder where they would go. I would think Nashville or Charlotte would be candidates.
Yeah, they're potentially gonna move, and they're not as likely as like the A's. They're pretty much guaranteed to move, but the Rays, I know. One thing, I don't know if it would happen, but it's something that they've discussed is they're talking about playing games in Montreal. So maybe they bring back the Expos or something.
Wait, who? The Rays?
They've been talking about like playing some of their home games in Montreal.
After moving it out of Montreal, I don't get it. Yeah, bring back the Expos. Why not? That's fun. Bring back Olympic Stadium, 1976. And Gary Carter.
The Expos still got robbed of their championship from that strike. They were unstoppable. I mean, I wasn't alive then, so I can only say by what I saw. But there's no way.
Yeah,
he could have been stopped.
Well, that's interesting though to hear about this because I've not heard. We don't up in Northeast Florida where we don't get a lot of news like that about the Rays. We really don't talk a lot of baseball in this part of the state. So that's interesting. I mean, there's kind of been talk about the move and stuff or the support issues and stuff like that. But, usually when you have news like that, like what you've been hearing, there's probably some smoke. And did you say the A's may consider moving?
Oh, the A's are pretty much guaranteed. Like they bought a big plot of land in Las Vegas. They're pretty much gone.
Oh God. Wait. You said Las Vegas, right?
Yep.
Okay. You keep talking about that. Daisy will have another team, but I have got to find a story real quick while you talk about that move. Go ahead.
Oh, so it's no surprise the Athletics don't have the best attendance, usually because their owner sucks. They've had some good teams, and Billy Beane's done a lot of good stuff, but they're consistently one of the bottom teams in the league. And unlike, say, the Kansas City Royals, which are also a very cheap team, but they did have back-to-back World Series in 2015 and 26. 14 and 15. And they won in 2015. So they've, that ownership, they cheaped out after that and didn't re-sign a lot of people. But they built for that those championship teams, at least. They got them there, spent a little extra to make it happen, and then jump ship. The Athletics pretty much never spend anything. Once you're off your team deal and hit the open market, they say see ya. And it's just
gotcha.
So they've had attendance problems. Their stadium, the team doesn't keep up their stadium. There's apparently wild animals that live there. Like they have a stray cat problem.
There was it sounds like the Magic Kingdom was when everything was shut down and they had rodents running over the park and stuff. But hey, let me catch. That's awesome to hear that. Because let me get a couple of things real quick. Balzette, we love the bacon cheddar tots. Yes, awesome. We got food. Geek Talks mentions the Marlins. They're garbage. Absolutely. But yeah, and he says also the A's average like 3,000 fans in Oakland.
Oh, yeah, it's been rough, but it's not. I mean, you can't. In my opinion, you can't really blame the fans. The owners refuse to pay. Put money into the product, and like you said, the stadium's just falling apart. Like it's not good stadium. And the owner, he has the money, but they say, "Oh, I need the taxpayer money to
let me
get out of here."
I love what you're saying. You're setting something up real quick, but let me hit Snortopoopas' real comment right here. Tropicana isn't on an island; it's in St. Petersburg. Okay. Sorry about that. Thank you for clarifying. But it's tucked between I-275 and I-375, and it's a mess to get in and out of. So he avoids the area when games are being played. Gotcha. And Daisy, like you said, they bought land in Vegas.
I mean,
good. Really? Possum.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That was
Oh
I
my
forgot
God.
about that. It's
Oh my
such a
God.
mess there.
Oh my God.
It's hard to believe that they can screw it up that bad,
Oh
honestly.
my God. And then Bowser, Oakland Strays. There you go.
Strays.
There you go. Oh my God, folks. We got 11 great y'all people here. Hit that like button. Go grab somebody off the street to be number 225. But if it doesn't happen, you guys are awesome. This is making me happy seeing so many of y'all spending a Monday night with sports with us, and we haven't even scratched the surface. So we'll see how this goes, and then sort of poop us, eat more possum. You need to open a restaurant sort of like Chick-fil-A, then, my friend. But hey, all right, all right. You said this. Las Vegas moved land, cheap owner, all this stuff. Follow the Raiders. Well, guess what? The Raiders said Raiders Mark Davis goes nuclear on A's move. All they did was flick up the Bay Area.
What? How does
You
that
didn't
make sense?
you didn't know about this article. And let me say hello
No.
to Lisa coming in right on the
Hey,
thank you.
Lisa.
Have a great dinner, my friend. Oh my gosh. But
How
yes,
does that doesn't make
yes.
any? Oh gosh, that's
Well,
a rather interesting
one
statement.
thing is what kind of haircut did he get?
Oh, he's had that haircut for a while.
I've seen bowl cuts, but that's like
Oh,
anyway.
he's got one of the worst haircuts in the league.
Oh
It's
God.
pretty
Okay.
bad.
So the article says, we'll look at the article real quick, folks, because this is kind of what I want to do with the show is to talk about news articles and vary the sports that we talked about. We get a lot of baseball and hockey just because of certain reasons tonight. Yeah, and like small time Republic saying that's the pot calling the kettle black.
Yeah.
Colonel Snort of Poopus Florida fried possum. There you go, my friend.
Florida fried possum.
And he's asking for his mushrooms too. So, but hey, let's look at. Let's say the article says that's the message the Raiders owner Mark Davis went scorched earth on the A's in a wild interview published by the Las Vegas Review Journal. You'd think that he'd have a lot in common with the A's John Fisher. Like Fisher, he was desperate to get out of the Coliseum and get some taxpayer money for a shiny new Las Vegas base. And he inherited everything from his billionaire parents. So, but apparently Davis really hates Fisher, and he made it clear in a profanity-laced interview Thursday. He says, I won't forget what they did to us in Oakland. They squatted on our lease for 10 years and made it impossible for us to build on that stadium. Ooh. I guess the Raiders wanted to maybe make improvements, and it screwed them up then. So no wonder the Raiders would want to move. When the team shared the Coliseum, they feuded over how to handle its future. 2014, the Raiders pushed to tear down the Coliseum and build a new NFL stadium on the same site, while the A's fought for and ultimately won a 10-year extension on the Coliseum lease. Okay, which of course they don't put money into, and we got rodents, right? So, but Stadium Arcana isn't the fun part. It would be the personal shots at the A's and Fisher. Quote, they marketed the team as rooted in Oakland. That's been their mantra through the whole thing, Davis told the Review. The slogans they've been using have been a slap to the face of the Raiders, and they're trying to win over the type of mentality in the Bay Area. Well, all they did was flip the Bay Area. So for them to leave Oakland without anything is pretty up. I wonder if he really used screwed or if he used the F alternative there. But hey, don't hold your breath for any cross-promotional nights between the two teams, at least until Fisher cashes out. Not with that management group, Davis said. I just have, again, a lot of personal animosity toward the front office, but with the new management group, absolutely. So there. How about you? Did not know about that article, did you?
No, I had no idea. That was crazy.
Oh wow! Well,
That's
that's why I'm sitting here
pretty...
listening. I saw this earlier today, and when you were saying stuff, it got into my mind about, hey, there we go with something real quick right there. So, hey,
that's pretty funny. I feel like he's might not be the most self-aware there.
Bowl cut and mullet mixed.
Yeah, he's got an interesting look. Let's just
CSFFP is finger looking good. So hey. All right, my friends. Well, look, okay, with that article, which that was a nice little impromptu. Like I said, this is the type of things I like to hit with this type of show in this format. We have a conversation, and there's news articles we can bring, have some variety to things like that. So let's go back and look at, before we move on to the next thing, let's go back, get a scores update real quick. I'm going to refresh on the hockey side. But hey, we got 13 of y'all with us. Thank you for being with us tonight. We appreciate you being here, spending the time. All you guys that are lurking, thank you for the lurkers. You guys in the chat, y'all are on fire tonight. I love it. I love hearing from the Philly people. Love hearing from our Auburn people. And you guys rock. I will say that tonight.
He might not say it later during the season, but he'll say it now.
Did he pay real money for that haircut? It's stunning. Said, "Bro, I had a mullet once, but I turned 9 and grew up." I glue a muskrat to his head. So hey, oh god, got a home haircut kit for sure. So all right,
it seems
guys.
like it. That's the thing. That's the really weird thing. I feel like most people, if you're a billionaire, you're getting a little bit of a different cut. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, absolutely. So hey. Everybody, welcome. It's awesome. Thank you for being here tonight. We appreciate it. Oh my goodness, it is great. And I think YouTube hit my subscriber numbers, so I've lost some. But hey, it's okay. No. I know how that does. You guys here rocking with this. This is what's important. Having fun together. Hey, I don't know what the chat is talking. That cut is fresh. You like that haircut? That's awesome. So. 18:26 left in the game. New Jersey still holds a 1-0 lead over the Rangers. This is a typical Devil game. Toronto is trailing Tampa Bay in the second. About 6 minutes left, 3-1. So suckers. There you go, my friends. So hey, all righty. Well, we got NHL, Major League Baseball. We're not going to waste time with we are not going to waste time with the NBA this week because it's the NBA and
no one likes the NBA.
It's just glorified sit there and watching people stand around and dribble forever. So, but hey, all righty. Well, with that, let me see. Let's see. Like Bowsette. Without my glasses, I have 20/50 vision. I cut my own hair and it looks better than that. Oh god, stunning! He picked it out of the midlife crisis section in the Great Cuts magazine.
I would say I cut my hair better than that, and I'd have 20. I think I have 20 170, or no, that's not. I don't have good vision. My hair doesn't look that bad.
That's too funny. So, all right, now we're going to go into something a little passionate that I'm about. This is going a bit. Oh yeah, I agree with you. I don't like them, and actually of all the leagues that I get tired of, and like I said, I try not to get into politics and all the other stuff, but that league tends to have a lot of pontificating from some of its lead players and stuff, and it's just like, just be quiet and leave us alone. So God, we're not going to get out that article. That's cool. It's just like go on at that point.
I would agree. I think most people would agree with that statement.
Yeah, absolutely. So hey, oh my goodness. Hey, well let's have some fun with one that's going to really get my goat a little bit.
Get your goat. I haven't heard that one before.
Yeah. Well, hey, like with things like that, no way. Just don't go bald. So, all right, folks. Hey, this is one that is and this is where it's really good to have you in here, Whoopa, to bounce some ideas and thoughts off of. Yeah, because your sports, college sports.
I've just been faking it this whole time. I don't know what you're talking about.
Damn, you're really good at it. You're really good at faking it. Hey, that's awesome. We got 15 people watching, and so now we're going to go into the passionate area that I've got here. Is the college sports, specifically football. But this is a rule that transcends just football. It involves the baseball, the basketball, even the women's sports, really. It's about what they call the transfer portal rule. and this article here from Matt Hayes, uh, he says that transfer the spring transfer portal rule needs to be scrapped for everybody's sake. So what's happening, folks? Really, what basically happens is these teams have gone through. They play the year, they go into spring, they wait to have spring camps, then they have their little inter squad games, and then players start transferring, leaving the school after all this work's been done, and then they go somewhere else. Uh, in the spring term, um, I'll have a couple examples in just a second. But what it does is, as the article says, let's look at it. It's a rule to prevent coaches from dealing roster management late in the spring. It has to devolve some SEC coaches into a rule that protects the elite of the conference while also potentially affecting the overall health of the league. And then one coach said there are problems down the road we probably should have seen, because it's a little bit of the rich get richer type thing. People see that they're not going to win a job somewhere, they go somewhere else, and they usually go to the better programs. A lot of times what used to happen is you could not transfer within a conference like the Southeastern Conference. You had to go, if you transferred, you had to go outside the conference, and you had to sit out a year. Well, since the 2020 season, the rules have been changed, made more student friendly. The sit out rules are not there like they used to be. The hardships, what they call hardships, are usually granted a lot easier than they had been in the past. So a lot of times these players are transferring over, and if they're academically eligible, really start to play. They also are complicated by something called the name, image, and likeness rule, which is how they quote are getting players get paid now. They get recruited, and the boosters, whoever can work a deal, and they can profit off their name, image, and likeness, as the rule says. There's also talk about that. The bigger schools get the bigger players because they can get bigger contracts or endorsement deals or whatever you want to call it. Doesn't always work. The University of Florida just lost out on a major mammoth quarterback because the boosters or somebody could not get the deal worked out right to the player's advantage, and he decided to up and leave somewhere else. So you almost have like free agency within college athletics now. It's not just recruiting, and bringing your players in. It's gotten a lot more complicated than that. So
Yeah.
Go ahead, Wipa.
Oh, yeah, I don't think it's 100% bad that players can get money for their image, but yeah, definitely with how transfer rules are, it can get a little crazy. It makes you wonder, like, well, what's why not just I always think with what they're doing, it's like, well, why even have it attached to college anymore? Because it's all about paying the players, make some junior league, expand the XFL to 100 teams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
All there, something like that.
Make them eligible. Yeah. Well, one of the things is it started many years ago, and I think Urban Meyer, when he was at Florida, was one of the leaders in starting it. Was this whole idea of the grad transfer? So somebody finishes their undergrad at a degree, they have 1 year left, or they have eligibility. Well, they can play as a grad student. So it allowed players to transfer from one school to another to play the very next year with no sitting out. So, and that was the early days of this player movement stuff. The rules used to be a lot stricter that prevented this stuff, and you had more consistency on your rosters. You didn't have people coming and going like they're doing now. And I'll use this example here. The Gators lost two players today. Xavier Henderson, which was one of their starting wide receivers. He's really had just a plain average, boring career in Gainesville. Not anything spectacular, but he's after the spring drills, he's I guess maybe seeing the writing on the wall, whatever it is. But he's now going into the transfer portal. There was also another linebacker. Let's see. see, he had an average season preseason. There's there's another edge rusher Antoine Powell Ryland and offensive lineman David Connor are three players that entered the portal this spring. So what's happened is now the Gators are now down at 79 scholarship players, which are 6 under the FBS limit of 85 scholarship players. What that means, folks, though, I think you gasped, didn't you, Whoopa?
Yeah, it sounds
Yes,
not good.
because it's not good. For a team like University of Florida in a big conference like that, that means they're even further behind the likes of Tennessee, Georgia, Alabama, everybody else. The team that lost to frickin' Vanderbilt, can't even fill its roster. And, in part due to the transfers, but they'll pick other people out of the transfer portal. So the players go in this transfer portal and basically recruiting starts again. I mean, schools contact them, see them to bring them in their program. This article did talk about that Billy Napier was, it may not have been this article, but Napier's talking about bringing in at least one quarterback. But see, this is what's happening. Players go, and then they start transferring out in the spring, and then you're left scrambling to finish your roster, because you don't want to go into seasons under the maximum, because if you're playing with a lot of walk-ons, you're going to get your ass kicked pretty regularly, especially in the larger conferences. So in 2021, during the infant stages of the NIL and free player movement, the commissioner, at the behest of the conference coaches, instituted the spring transfer portal rule, which prohibited players who enter the portal in the spring from being eligible to play in the fall for any other SEC school. So that's within the conference. You can go outside of your conference, but this is a rule to restrict the movement within the conference. But the hope was the rule would curtail the spring transfers and allow coaches to get better control of the roster management. But the rule won't restrict the players from leaving if they truly want to play elsewhere. All the rule does is drive good players from the league. And the more good players leave the league, the more vulnerable it becomes. Because what is happening here, what happens is because they cannot transfer and play immediately within the conference, like from Georgia to Florida, Alabama, they leave the league to go somewhere where they can play immediately because they don't want to sit out. A case in point is blue chip defensive tackle Bear Alexander. He was a top backup in 2022, projected to replace an All-American in 2023, but he entered the spring transfer portal the day before Georgia's G-Day spring game last weekend. Is expected to sign with USC. So you have an elite All-American player leaving the SEC to play at the Pac-12. And that's what they're illustrating, that this rule is hurting the conference, but it's to protect people from moving within the conference. So, and hello to the great Deborah Wade. Welcome, my friend, to see you again. Let's get over here and highlight what you have had to say tonight. I think they should go to school, keep good grades, be loyal to school, and play sports. Why do they need endorsements? They usually have scholarships. Okay, I'm old-fashioned. I agree with you. I agree with you very much so with that. And, there is one part of this that I can see from the student standpoint. They're not guaranteed 4-year school scholarships. The schools can pull these scholarships from them. So there is risk with these players if they, of losing their scholarships if they get outclassed by other athletes. So, but on the surface, I do agree with the problems of paying athletes to play like that. How do you balance it out? I mean, I'm amazed about Alabama just can't buy everybody they want, get enough NIL deals and, as long as they're legal and everything else, but I do agree with that, but then again, if you're the kid, I'd want the endorsement if I'm good enough. So could support your family, but absolutely. I do thank you for your input there, Deborah. As always, thank you. And make sure you hit that like button, everybody that's here. And, we'll see. I guess I have to stop talking about the two. Well, now we need 4 more, but that's okay. Well, we're having fun tonight with you guys here in the chat. This is a great show tonight. I appreciate all y'all being here and talking sports like this, Whoopa. This is really, really good to have this interaction with the chat.
Mm-hmm. The chat is the most important. That's all. It's fun. Without the chat, we'd be just two weirdos talking to each other, to no one.
I specialize in the weirdo. Yeah, I got you. uh, now they said also players can still use the traditional waiver process to gain eligibility. They use an example of LSU quarterback Garrett Nussmeier. If he transfers, does not want to sit behind the current starter, he can enter the spring portal and transfer to another SEC school, but he would have to win a hardship appeal to play this next season. In the past, those appeals were difficult to get approved, but with the NCAA players' friendly atmosphere, players are having more success with these hardship appeals. So it almost undoes the rule that they have within the conference to prohibit players transferring within the conference. So that's irony now, and what they say. And SEC coach was quoted to say, "None of us like the uncertainty with the free player movement, but all of us sure would be interested in recruiting a player here or there from another SEC roster if they're available. So what's more important, protecting what you've got or getting what you need?" So, it's and here's the prime example here. There's no telling where any hardship claim would land, but players who transfer into a school in a winter portal and want to transfer again 4 months later to another SEC school more than likely won't get approved unless there are extenuating circumstances. I remember University of Tennessee last year had a running back coming in from Virginia Tech. He walked on campus, signed a letter, and then was gone that first week of practice. He just left, Yeah. And you still will have players bouncing around. So, and see, as much as anything, the spring transfer rule has become a quarterback rule. There's only one quarterback on the field, and it's the most turnover-heavy position in the sport. See, I tell you what, there's three quarterbacks here that are backups. Garrett Nussmeier at LSU, Max Johnson at Texas A&M, and Brock Vandagriff at Georgia. I tell you what, and I think, I see it down below there. If they enter the spring portal, they could take the easy route of going outside the SEC, or they could take a more difficult route, appealing to transfer and playing immediately within the conference, but it's not guaranteed. It doesn't look like that they would lose an appeal. They're all three competing for starting jobs. Of the three, I think Nussmeier has the least likely chance of winning after the way Jaden Daniels played last year. But it says Florida and Auburn are looking. You think the Florida Gators are looking for a damn quarterback? We're talking about the friggin' understatement of the year. So anyway, but yeah, I'm going to get on that again in a little bit in just a few minutes. But Florida, Auburn, hey, small time Republic, if you're still here, yeah, you guys also need a quarterback. Billy Napier, the Gator quarterback, said after last Thursday's game that the process has begun to identify potential candidates. How would you feel to be the damn quarterbacks on the roster? I mean, it's also something to get good, always look to get better. But, your coach says, these guys suck, We're going to find better guys out there to do stuff,
Yeah, that's not great.
It's like, oh, my gosh, hey. So, anyway, here we go with that. So, anyway, we got that. So there's 11 days remaining for players across college football enter spring portal and be eligible for 2023, and they had to be in the portal by April 30th. But they can decide where to play as late as the beginning of fall camp, which would be July, August. So this does not include the other three Gators that have declared, but this article had four other players between Georgia, Alabama. And that's something. You get players trying to transfer out of Georgia and Alabama, though, So, but hey.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's how it goes. That's the thing. What I don't like about the free transfer portal is that it kind of encourages everyone to sign with we talk about the NIL. In theory, that should help balance things out. Don't know if it works in practice, but sometimes it seems like it does. the thing about the early transfer thing is, it seems like it encourages everyone to just sign with the top guys. Like, why not just go and sign with Alabama or with Georgia if you're a quarterback? And they got 3 guys. Well, you hopefully you get your chance. If not, you can just leave. I don't think it's very. I don't know. It's one thing to say, hey, a guy gets promised a spot, and then something happens, or he gets injured, maybe, or he just gets beat out, and you could say, okay, he's gonna he's gonna leave now. That's one thing. But so many of these, it seems like people just know, hey, worst case, and they know a place is crowded. They know it's not going to work out, but there's a slight chance it can, and if it doesn't, well, they don't have any negatives to their actions anymore. There's no negative to transfer. I just don't think that's great.
Yeah, it just caused a lot of instability, really, but it's a new age. There's a lot more sympathy for the players now than there used to be, and I think a lot of it. I think a lot of it is trying to make up for some very bad past practices. Because the rules used to be so heavy-handed, and because let's be honest. Try to look at it from the player's side is these coaches will lie to you. They will do everything to try to get you in. They'll promise you the moon and the world, and then when you get there, things change, and you've lost your job or whatever. It turns out not the same, and then oops, well, sorry, deal with it, and you got no recourse, nowhere to go, and
right. That's very true,
and that's the hard part. And it's like the scholarships. There've been many cases where the players, got their they just better players came in, they were given the scholarships, and never mind, you've committed yourself to a place for 4 years, and you just you're stuck with that. So it's really interesting. But hey, all right, well, Patrick, that's very, very, very wishy-washy, non-committal.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Absolutely. All right, well, a game update. New Jersey leads 2-1 with about 8 minutes left in the third period. And so the Rangers have scored, but the Devils still have the lead. So it's going to come down to a crazy ass finish, and the misses went in here. Watch it with me. That'd be really, really crazy. Great time. So, hey, listen, we still got 9 of y'all with us. Hey, make sure you, y'all hit the like button. Thank you for being here with us. And we're going to hit a couple more stories.
Make sure you turn the stove off. Don't leave the stove running.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, exactly. At least the missus cooked for me, so I'm okay. Oh my goodness. So hey, listen, we're going to talk a little bit of the No Fun League a little bit. With this week, the draft is coming up. But first, before we do that, we are going to talk about something that was big today. There was a huge trade in the National Football League, where Aaron Rodgers was traded from the Green Bay Packers to the New York Jets. Yes, just in time for the draft. So
it's finally happened.
18 seasons with the Packers, including 4 MVP awards, 1 Super Bowl victory, and 475 touchdown passes. It was really weird because remember when he was drafted, he had to keep sitting waiting to be picked and all that stuff. He kept sliding down, and then of course when he went in there, Brett Favre made a deal he wasn't going to train his replacement, this, that, and the other and stuff. And now we've got and now he's kind of been the grizzled old veteran in there, and now he's finally going to move, it looks like. But do you think this will actually help New York finally become a solid football team?
In theory, sure, but I never know. There's the problems of 2 things. One, Aaron Rodgers did not look like himself last year. So is this something to be worried about? Because if he's not, I'm sure he'll be better than Zach Wilson. That's not hard to do. I look forward to Zach Wilson joining the XFL here very soon. But
what I heard about Zach Wilson was he's not a good locker room quarterback. very selfish, very really did a lot of stuff to really annoy his teammates.
I'm sure you heard what everyone was doing. Or that doesn't make sense. Sorry. I was trying to multitask, and sometimes I just say things that doesn't make sense.
I do it all the time, Whoopa.
But they're talking about he did terrible. I forget what the offense was. They scored 3 points, and he was awful. And they said, "Do you take any responsibility?" And he's like, "No." It's like, what? You can't say that. Even if you don't believe that you did anything wrong, you can't say that in public to the press. That's the bad look, because he did do bad. But
Or what about your teammates? You're effectively saying they suck. I'm the good one. That it's all their fault.
And the defense held, and that was the big thing. Like, do you feel like you let down your defenses? Was like, no. And it's like, well, the defense held them to 3 points. The Patriots scored 10, and that was because of a punt return touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not the defense's fault. So it's like, yeah, you let the defense down. It's just the silliest thing if you could easily just say, yeah, we let them down. And you don't have to believe it, but you should know better than to say it. I've never been in the NFL, and I know better than to say it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're still talking NFL football right now. There are score updates. New Jersey is still up 2-1 with under 6 minutes left. And at the end of 2, Tampa Bay is up 4-1 on Toronto. So
Toronto.
If Tampa Bay win, will tie the series up at 2. If New Jersey can hold on, that series will be tied at 2, headed back to New Jersey. So, all right. Yep, exactly. Yep. So, hey,
that trade too. Did you see what the details were? And I remember it offhand. But essentially,
go ahead.
They swapped first round picks this year, which is not much. Green Bay had the 15th overall, and the Jets had the 13th overall.
Oh yeah, that's pretty.
Oh, so now they just swapped, two picks. That doesn't affect much,
right?
And they gave up a second round pick. I think there was a swap of like a 5th and a 7th. That was the Jets got the 5th rounder. I think that's right. And then they have a conditional. So the Jets gave up basically a two pick move in this draft, a second rounder, and they gave up a conditional second rounder that if Aaron Rodgers plays 65% of the snaps, it turns into a first rounder. So,
oh wow,
that's a decent haul for a guy who pretty much he said, "Hey, you're out," and the Packers already had their guy ready.
Yeah.
Reportedly, they were willing to let him sit because they're like, well, we've already got a guy and we're already paying him the money. I think the Jets only have to pay him like $18 million because a lot of the money already got paid. I think the cap hit's still the same, but money-wise, it doesn't cost too much.
Yep. And that's a whole nother science right there, folks, trying to explain the NFL salary cap. So we won't even begin to try to do that. It's kind of funny. I think
sense.
Yeah, we've got 8 people still with us, and thank you for hanging out. Hopefully you'll stay, and thank you for everybody that's passed through tonight. And, just appreciate your time with us tonight. And the chat, although I think the chat kind of got slowed down after getting fired up over that bowl cut, There was nothing like that. That's one of the most active chats I had after that with that haircut. But hey,
hard to top the bowl cut. What can you say?
WWE draft. I like
what is the so?
What's that?
Do you know anything about that? I've never followed wrestling much, but I heard a draft. Is that something that? What is that?
Why would there be in WWE? Was there a draft?
That's what I'm wondering. I don't understand. Is there teams now? If you know more about that, Patrick.
Yeah,
or Patrick,
know about that.
Let me know, because it's like, what the heck?
Because
I've heard that before, but
like Daisy said, that it's a team sport. And Patrick, good point there. Isn't QB supposed to be a team leader? Yeah, I mean there are cases your running back could be, but generally it's looked to the quarterback to be the leader, the spokesman. And
there's been situations with that before where That was always the thing with Jay Cutler. I don't know if you
Mhm.
remember.
Oh
But
yeah,
everyone was always
Yeah.
saying, well, a lot of people said, well, he's not the best to play for. And it's
no,
not,
he was. Yeah.
wasn't that he was a bad person, but it was just like, people said, well, he didn't really care.
Hmm. Exactly, and it came through the way he treated people, and so he, you know, definitely seemed like there were locker room issues, especially when the teams did not play well. But hey, it's what it is. Of course, that's another Vanderbilt quarterback. Okay, Patrick says they choose who switches between Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. Oh,
Okay. I think
okay. So the
interesting.
leagues, I guess, draft them for where they're playing. Oh, that's interesting. All right. Well, that is interesting to see with that. So, okay, we have the trade. We have the trade that is it's really huge news, but not surprising because it's been rumored for quite a while. But the NFL draft goes back many, many years, a long, long way. Actually, it goes back to 1936. Now, of course, back then it was not the NFL as we know today. You had the AFL, NFL for many years, and then they merged together. But it had been in many places over the years, and we will. Yeah, and I will show you here a little bit. Of course, I'm using Wikipedia, but it was the quickest place I could find everything. It's like here we go. In here is that the drafts by year now, and you can see
The
like a
Ritz
lot.
Carlton.
I
Nice.
know. Right? All right, a lot of New York, not unexpected. Um, those type, New York, the Commodore hotels, New York City, Pittsburgh. See, I did not realize that how long the draft actually went back. But like I said, remember it's in a different format. The league absorbed others, and you know, but this is I think what's recognized as the modern NFL. But Paul Horning, you remember that name?
Oh, I do remember that name. I actually know. Uh, I know someone named that. Funnily enough,
Yeah, yeah,
and
and
not the same person.
no,
Very,
yeah,
very much a different person. I don't
I
think.
believe he was a running back for
Yep,
Green Bay, definitely for Green Bay. But hey,
he's a very
that's
good player.
absolutely. He did broadcasting. I think on the NFL Today on CBS many years ago, probably in the 70s and 80s. So it was interesting to see, that he was one of the early former players make it to TV. So, but that's the first name. Oh, well, look, 1967, Bubba Smith
Bubba.
was the first overall, and that's the. Let me go back to the top. Let me make sure. I think that's first selection. Bubba Smith.
Oh
Do you
wait,
remember?
hold on. Scroll back up a bit.
Okay,
Sorry,
no
I thought I
problem.
saw. Oh, look at that one. That's Chuck Bednarik.
Yeah,
That's a name you should know.
yeah, I've heard that name.
I think the first one of these guys I remember. Here, scroll up a little bit more. Maybe I'm wrong.
Frank Sinkwich. I think that's a University of Georgia guy player.
Maybe. I
So
think was the first or second guy, like the first ever. Well, never mind. I thought there was someone else that I was like, oh, I remember some guy early on being a big deal. Maybe it was just Bednarik.
yep. So then we get to O.J. Simpson at 69. Now these are the name. Bubba Smith's the first one I remember, and then he of course he appeared in the Police Academy movies, and then O.J. Simpson was one that became an actor too. Terry Bradshaw.
He acted like he didn't murder someone. That's what he did.
Well,
Sorry, I had to say it.
no. Well, Terry Bradshaw was my nemesis as a Cowboy kid growing up. Always kicking the Cowboys' ass in the Super Bowl. It was beyond ridiculous. It was crazy. So, and they got Jim Plunkett here, of course, who ended up with Oakland.
Yeah,
Matuzak,
Ed Too Tall Jones.
Yep, damn straight. One of my favorite players of all time. Steve Parkowski. I mean, the Falcons sucked then, and of course, he got drafted there. Leroy Selman. Hey, that's a great name of all time.
That's a good
Played
name. I don't
Tampa
remember.
Bay. Mm-hmm.
Earl Campbell.
Earl Campbell. Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
So Billy Sims, George Rogers played at South Carolina. Oh yeah, it's just
Bo
some
Jackson,
really good
probably
names.
one of the best. If I may be able to say, I think Bo Jackson probably one of the best athletes ever. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
All Star in the MLB and the NFL, and that guy, he was really
Yeah.
good. But he was one of the fastest 40 times back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, back in the 80s when they didn't have all the modern tech they had here now. That
Mm-hmm.
they train every part of you when by the time you're 10.
Yeah, no, exactly. Bo Jackson's one of those that it's a shame that his career got cut short because of
Yeah,
the leg injury he suffered. It was on the level of Theismann, but different. I mean, Theismann's will never be. That was just. I remember watching that game live that night, and even God, yeah, it was so bad you could see it. Even the players were getting up there yelling at everybody to come out on the field. Then and
ugh.
exactly, and
But
there you go.
they
Bo
showed
knows.
him Bonos.
Yeah.
They showed him because there was talk about, I forget who it was in the MLB this year. He ran a really fast uh, time from, they track like home to first time, kind of for speed to say like how quickly a
Hmm.
guy can beat out a ground ball and such.
Hmm.
And they showed that side by side, like, oh, here's the fastest guy in the MLB so far this year, and they showed it side by side with Bo Jackson, who hit like in his first ever hit in the MLB, and
Hmm.
Bo Jackson, I think, beat the guy in the modern MLB, the fastest guy in the modern MLB. They showed side by side. He beat him by like 2 steps. It's like, holy cow, he was fast.
Yes, yes.
Oh,
Empty netter. Devils up
oh,
3-1.
okay. I was wondering,
Devils
like,
up
what?
3-1, 25 seconds ago. We will go 2-2 back to New Jersey.
I was like,
Sorry.
wow, you're really excited about hearing about Bo Jackson.
Sorry. I'm sorry. But Bo was awesome to watch. I got to see him play once in college. That was interesting. And I know your Auburn fans out there would, I mean, had to be a special player to watch. Because see, as a Gator fan, I got to watch Emmett Smith, and watching him play in college
Was he
was.
any good?
Oh, Emmett Smith was just slightly good. You know, his first game that he started, he broke out against Alabama with 222 yards rushing. So
Well, it's
that's
just
all.
Alabama. They had never won anything.
No, they're not. But we look at some of the other names in here: Troy Aikman, Jeff George. So, but if you look at it, New York City for the longest time had the draft all the way. It was like every year, previously up for 65 on. I know they used Madison Square Garden, the Radio City Music Hall, and because he like in the 2000s, there's Madison Square Garden from 95's on. They used the Javits Convention Center in 2005, but they
The
held it
what?
there for so many. The big glass dome. If you watch the 2016 election night, you'll know. So, but hey,
I,
yeah, it's
I'm just gonna pretend that you made all that stuff up.
yeah. So, but it's like it ran all the way till 2014, and then they started in 2015. They moved it back out to rotating it at Chicago for 2 years, Philadelphia, Texas, Jerry's World,
Oh
Nashville.
yeah, Jerry's World.
Oh, and 2020 obviously was various because of what Cleveland. Oh my God! And
Hey, it makes
Nevada.
sense. They usually they have the first the
I
first
know.
overall pick, so you might as well put it there.
Well, that was a Jaguar first pick there. Oh,
Trevor
Trevor Lawrence.
Lawrence,
Yep.
he's pretty
And the
good.
Jaguars had, I think, Trayvon Moore.
Oh,
Yep.
they had that one too. Yeah,
Yep.
Trevor
2 years
Walker.
in a row. Yep.
It was pretty good.
So out
I
in
would have
Nevada,
taken.
close to Daisy Blossom. Oh, thank you, Daisy. Sorry, I get as much as live time as I can. The boat, cartoon with Bo Jackson. Oh yeah, and Bowsette remember about promoting that weighted training vest. And here's my friend OC Dobbins. Roll Tide. All right, my friend. Roll Tide to you. I'll say Roll Tide to you. Okay. My
I
Gators
can't.
are
I
hopeless, I think,
refuse.
but you refuse to say. Oh, that's too funny.
Have
But hey,
standards, you know.
I know.
I'm just
Well,
making fun.
let's take a few minutes. Wow, golly, we I said an hour and a half. we're
And
on
say we
the.
went a little over your target.
Yeah, I know, but hey, let's go with this real quick. We'll look at some of the what's coming out. That's a little bit with the NFL draft coming up. Yeah. Oh yeah. Hello. Uh, Here, they all have the mock drafts here.
The
Um,
mock drafts, my favorite.
and these are debative. A lot of these have contention and stuff like that. I hate mock drafts. I hate these NFL experts because quote experts because I remember Todd McShay once had a Jevin Sneed going out of Ole Miss like in a top 25, first round pick, and the kid went undrafted. And it's like because he left school a year early, and it's like that's kind of where the NBA has it right in a way. If you go for the draft and you don't get selected where you need, you can go back to college for another year. But that's what happened, with that.
That's the thing with a lot of that stuff. Some of it is, maybe it'd be better, but also there's so many guys who are just. There's a guy, Katie Cannon, XFL guy. I watched him score a touchdown as a throwback. I was like, man, I haven't watched you score in a long time.
Yeah.
But it's just everyone pretty much told him, hey, if you go to the NFL, like you're not gonna get drafted, He said, I don't care, I'm declaring anyway, and sure enough, went undrafted. It's like, well, what'd you expect? Everyone told you, hey, this is a dumb idea. Stop.
Yep. Yep. The allure of money and not having to go to school. So let's look at this. Let's look at. I'm going to come from. There's so many out there, ESPN and everybody else, but we'll just take a look at a couple of the CBSSports.com experts, Ryan Wilson and Chris Trapasso, and these are what they have. And obviously, there's always a need for quarterback. This quarterback draft looks like it's very thin, and I will tell you why I think it's very thin. Because outside of Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud, and O.C. Dobbins, I would be curious, O.C., since you're an SEC guy, a small-time Republic, if you're still out there, there are two other two SEC quarterbacks that are projected in the first round that should not be first-round draft picks. You could say talent, prospect, but what do we see? And I'm going to have an article on one.
You could say three too, from what I've seen potentially.
Yeah, well, Bryce Young is apparently a lot. Number one overall from Alabama with C.J. Stroud at Ohio State. You do not agree with that? Do you like C.J. Stroud better?
I don't know. I go back and forth. I like both of them.
Mm-hmm. Well, C.J. Stroud was impressive in the playoffs games.
There's potentially going to be 4 SEC quarterbacks in the first round, which is pretty wild. And I think I'm kind of confused about that, but I don't know.
Well, then you see they have edge rushers for the Cardinal. Well, actually, they must be assuming a trade or something here with Will Anderson. Yeah, that's mock weird. Trade from Arizona. Well,
I hate mock trades so much. I know it's off topic, but
no, go ahead.
Like, what are they basing this off of? Oh, yeah, they don't know. As far as I'm aware, there's no conversations between the Cardinals trading with the Texans. Like, what are they? It's just they just make stuff up based on what they think should happen. They don't base it off of what like NFL teams are actually talking about. Everyone talked about the Colts are going to trade up to number 1, and I saw that in so many mock drafts. Well, guess what? They didn't. I didn't see anyone talking about the Panthers trading up really. And it's just they just don't know what's going to happen. It's silly.
Exactly. Well, I do want your opinion in just a second. And like I said, O.C. Dobbins, since you're still here, anybody that's very familiar with the SEC, I really want some input before I say too much. And I'm having to ramp myself down a second. Both of them have Anthony Richardson from the University of Florida, 4th overall. Okay. Then
that's
it came, of course, Wilson and Anderson flip-flop there, but Jalen Carter, Georgia. Defense.
It's going to be interesting what happens with Jalen Carter.
Yeah, exactly. To see,
he might be playing in playing in Folsom, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, it's that one. Yeah, that was the car. Yeah, that incident up in Georgia. Yeah, I think they said speeding was involved. So yeah, that's unfortunately there's loss of life in that, and that's always sad when that happens. Well, they split on the Raiders. One takes offensive line, the other takes cornerback.
Gosh,
It's,
this is, and maybe stuff might not end up how I think it's going to happen, but I would have a hard time believing that Atlanta takes Bijan Robinson at 8.
yes.
They drafted I think in the 5th round, Tyler
Yep.
Algier, which was
Yeah.
very cheap, and he was 1,000-yard rusher.
Wow. Yep.
It's like, why would they draft another guy in this high when they have a guy who just had 1,000-yard rushing
Yep.
season?
That's
No.
exactly.
There's one thing about getting new quarterbacks and new
Mhm.
running backs, because everyone likes to have a committee.
Yeah.
Spending a top pick on a running back, I mean, you don't do that unless you really have an opening.
Well, and the thing is, if you're going to use them, look, Ezekiel Elliott just got
Oh, yeah.
traded, leaving the Cowboys, and look at all the money they sunk into that one position.
Oh, God.
And it's okay, OC Dobbins. I love your Bama bias. I want us to talk specifically about, and I'm going to talk with here in a second when we get through looking at these, the quarterbacks projected in the first round, and thoughts on a couple of the SEC quarterbacks specifically. So, but please bring your Bama bias. I respect that. So like Patrick, so equivalent, put all the names in a hat and throwing darts at it. Absolutely. Hey. All right,
That's
folks.
pretty much mock drafts.
Exactly. So here's where they split. And I'm going to try to sit on my hat again a little bit here. And I see this is kind of one of those things. Tennessee's got one has it with the offensive tackle, and then the other has it with Will Levis, the quarterback from Kentucky. The guy that could hardly stay on the field this year because of injury. But then we got more splits. Look, another mock trade. What is this? I'm like,
that was
the mock trade.
That's stupid, and I think Lucas Van Ness is not even that good. That's neither here nor there.
I've seen his name in other places. Yeah. So we got tackle for the Jets. Of course, that makes sense considering the Aaron Rodgers trade.
Yep.
Said Darnell Wright.
I don't like either of these Steelers picks, and I'm not a Steelers fan, but I'm somewhat invested because my dynasty team has both Najee Harris and Kenny Pickett. But they don't need another wide receiver. They've got plenty of wide receivers, and they need an offensive tackle. Their two offensive tackles suck. They got to help that offense out. They've got the good wide receivers. They just traded like a 7th rounder for Allen Robinson. He's their like wide receiver 3. Anyway, sorry. This is the thing. I don't have a team in this fight because they moved the Rams. I only look for fantasy stuff. So anytime I see something like Bijan Robinson to the Falcons, which I have the current Falcons running back, or something that doesn't help my guys in Pittsburgh, it's like, come on, how do you do it? Do the stuff that helps my team.
Exactly. I looked there. Lucas Van Ness, and the one is projected 24th to the Jaguars. I'm sorry, I don't trust any football player at Iowa. I really don't.
No,
but of course, BJ Beathard, CJ Beathard, whatever the guy's name is, the backup quarterback in Jacksonville. So it's like, why? Anyway, but
Joey Porter Jr. is an interesting name. He's been. They've talked about him a lot with the Steelers for obvious reasons, but he's a guy that I've seen him drop out of the first round in some mock drafts, and I've seen him, I think, in the top 10 at least in one of them. It's pretty wild.
Yep. This one guy sure loves his mock drafts on the right side. So
stupid mock draft trades.
Yeah.
And there's another one.
Hendon Hooker on the left. Yeah.
But that's a
name I forgot about in terms of SEC quarterbacks. But
that was the third one, the 4th one I was talking about.
Well, and Will Levis at the end to Tennessee.
I forgot that he doesn't have that. Mm-hmm.
So let's see. There's 1, 2,
3, 5.
4, 5 quarterbacks, 4 from the SEC.
4 from the SEC, which is wild.
Yeah, and I think it's in both sides. Well, no, I think the one does not have Hendon Hooker in the first round. I don't think. Okay, yeah, so he doesn't. So we're not going to worry about all the other guys down below. But here's the point of conversation that I wanted to talk about. And this is where I want anybody that follows the SEC specifically. It is overall, at least appears to be a very weak quarterback draft. Not that the top 2 guys are not good, not talented, are worthy of being drafted. But in terms of what's behind them, the number of quarterbacks that are available, that normally would be worthy of a first round pick. I mean, some of these teams will start reaching and taking stretches to take players, a lot sooner than they normally would have based on talent if there were more quarterbacks there. So my question is, Rupa, to you and to anybody else that follows the SEC, presume five quarterbacks for the SEC. You got Hendon Hooker, you got Bryce Young, Will Levis, and Anthony Richardson. How many of those do you really feel are worthy of first round picks?
I think I'd say one, maybe two, personally.
And which one would they be?
So the one I'd say is Bryce Young.
Yes.
That's the obvious one to me. I think I go back and forth. Bryce Young, he's very good, but I do wonder if he's better. CJ Stroud has all the natural abilities. He just has to work on his progression, which could be a big problem. But everything else he's got, Bryce Young maybe has to work on a little more. The other guy I'd consider, and I'm not confident about this, I'll say, as a fantasy football draftee, I'm not targeting this guy, but I could see him possibly working out, would be Anthony Richardson.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And OC Dobbins just won, and we know which one OC Dobbins says. Yes. Okay, Go ahead, though. Go ahead. So what do you think Richardson could work out?
So I don't like a lot of project quarterbacks. When I say I think he could be a first rounder, as I would understand if someone takes him with like 31st overall pick. Maybe you're saying the reward is worth the risk. I think him going in 4th overall is ridiculous. Not, that's just the product of teams overdraft quarterback always, except for last year. Last year was like the only year that teams didn't overdraft quarterback, which was smart because outside of Kenny Pickett, no one's really good in that last quarterback class.
Yeah.
And even Kenny Pickett, they actually waited for him till the 20th. Anyway,
yeah.
Point is, I can see he's a boom or bust candidate, and I think he's got a lot more chance to bust than boom. But he's got so much natural ability, I can understand why someone wouldn't pick him late. But taking a guy at 4th overall, who's, he's not going to start year one. If the Colts take him, he can't start year one. He'd get eaten alive, and you don't know if he's ever going to be good enough. I just can't imagine why you'd want to spend that high of a pick on a guy like that.
Was it Malik Willis from Liberty last year?
Yeah, and it's very similar.
Way high by Tennessee in the first round, and then
No, so that's the thing. He was projected to go super high.
Okay.
And he ended up going in the 3rd round.
Oh, okay. He went that late. Yeah. Okay.
Which is like, at that point, I don't mind, Tennessee uses a 3rd rounder. Why not? But look how that turned out. He looked awful. He started 3 games and didn't throw a 100-yard for 100 yards in any of the games. That's pretty bad.
But the rumor was he was going to be first round and stuff. And then,
people came through him as high as like 5th overall.
So if anybody else has got any thoughts about the 5 quarterbacks, I agree with OC Dobbins, just one. And that would definitely be Bryce Young in terms of the SEC quarterbacks. Hendon Hooker, I've seen him play in college. Tennessee helped him a lot. I don't think one good year or maybe 2 years he had is enough to, establish, a track record for him. I think it was the 1 year with him.
I think he's interesting. I think as maybe a 2nd or 3rd rounder, he'd be good, but not as a 1st rounder. And even then, the biggest thing against him, besides the injury, is he's 25.
Yeah,
we're talking about that age. I mean, that's the same thing we're talking about Stetson Bennett. So I don't think Stetson Bennett's as talented person.
No.
But, he's a 26-year-old. Sure, he's beating up guys who are a lot younger than him. That was the thing against Kenny Pickett, except that was the thing. I would say that's the thing against Kenny Pickett at the time, but Kenny Pickett also had a season way better than either of those guys that we're talking about right now. And I think they're saying Stetson Bennett is about the same age as Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold's
Jeez.
in his fifth, sixth year.
Yeah, that's
So that's
still
he's about to be in his sixth year. So it's the
still
same.
very questionable. Yes.
A pending rookie is
Yeah.
at the same age as a 6-year NFL veteran. That's pretty rough.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, my thoughts is, and I appreciate you, OC, for your feedback there. I'll take a look. Hendon Hooker, like I said, could be that mystery quarterback. It could be, you don't know. Just is the resume long enough? Or was it just a product of his system? And things with Tennessee being Tennessee, but the two that I have the most opinionated about, Will Levis is a guy that's been so freaking injured. Why would you invest a first round pick in a guy that can't stay on the field? And then two, they say he has all this natural talent, but his numbers statistically sucked throwing the football most games. Kentucky was one of the worst offenses in a few years that they've had. They've had better offenses with running quarterbacks other years than what they had this year. Yeah, it was good enough to beat Florida because of a quarterback for Florida that kept giving them the ball. Well, which is another thing I'm going to talk about in a second. But Levis really didn't do much of anything talent-wise during these games to lead his team, to drive his team, to take them to, to be a coherent offense, to be something productive. It was they won with their defense so much, and now you got a quarterback that is supposed to be projected as this can't miss or first round, which I think also illustrates that it's a weak draft and teams are stretching to find competent quarterbacks out there. Case in point, that wonderful game you keep talking about, Iowa and Kentucky. I don't know if he played in that game, but Kentucky's offense still was better.
He didn't play in that game, but that's pretty awful. And there's plenty of games that he did play, and they're pretty bad.
Pretty awful. Like the game against Florida, they won, but two defensive touch. They had a 6-yard drive at the end of the first half because Richardson gave them the ball. And another blatant pick six that was run back 90 yards for a touchdown.
Well, something that your two favorite QB prospects in this draft have in common.
What's that?
They both lost to Vanderbilt.
Oh God! Thank you, Whoopa. Goodbye. Everybody say bye to Whoopa. Hi, I'm Dadman walking. That is awesome. But yeah, that's true. Huh? Since 1988, first time the University of Florida lost to them. And you know why? Because I put a lot of blame on Billy Napier. I did not like his coaching. I did not like the style they did the offense. They were inconsistent with how they wanted to run the offense. To Richardson credit, which is part of the problem. There were games like against Tennessee. He was on fire, made great throws. Against Texas A&M, they ran him intentionally, and the offense moved, and they worked, and they were effective. They scored. They moved the ball. But then again, misery. I think Florida won that game 24-17. Richardson threw for under 100 yards in that game. The game against Kentucky, I think, was one where he threw a Hail Mary that hit. There's one game he threw a Hail Mary in the half, but threw it it went out about the 10, 20-yard line and like 20 rows up in the stands, not into the end zone. And there's another one I think he hit the uprights on. And he could not complete 5-yard passes with any touch. Swinging out of the backfield was a very difficult thing, and seeing a guy rated this high just bothers me. That I know a project's one thing, but to me, a project would be somebody like down at the bottom of the draft. Say, like, who's going to need a quarterback in a few years? Maybe like the Saints. I don't know. So now, not really Saints, but
Tampa Bay is a possibility. They're kind of low.
Something like that. Something low like that. A team that can afford having a pick, using a pick like that. This, you're talking 4th overall. This could put you back a few years if you get this wrong. And there's an article that came out that I wanted to share a little bit about. And like I said, I don't pick on players and stuff. I was critical more of Napier, and I still am. I think Florida's fallen way behind. I think they hired a coach that's not capable of coaching in the SEC, but you got
him. Going to stop there. That'd been funny.
Well, last week I had the 5 key coaches on the high seat, and he was number 2, right behind Jumbo Fisher. Yeah, and it's true. You're University of Florida.
Florida can't stay down for that long.
Mullen came in, had a great year, first year. Look at Kirby Smart, his first year. He didn't have a meltdown like Florida did last year. Josh Heupel at Tennessee had little to work with, and yet he had a great first year. Did not have the drastic ups and downs like Florida had. And Winnipeg scored on a power play. Thank you, Daisy. Hey, for the update. Hey. But and that's really what bothers me with the Florida program. But you got a quarterback like here. And in this article, another one from Matt Hayes is kind of summarizing what I feel as a Florida fan that I actually watched through this year, which bothers me with the NFL mentality and stuff. Hayes writes, the title line is, when it comes to Anthony Richardson's NFL draft hype, I saw what I saw. Mm-hmm. And he starts it with saying that less than 10 days from a team making the greatest ceiling pick in NFL draft history are making a colossal mistake. And a scout's quoted as saying, if you ask me physically build a perfect quarterback, I'd give you Anthony Richardson every time. We've never seen anything like him. The writer writes, to this I say, don't tell me what I've seen.
I also say I think that's overrating it. Not that Anthony Richardson isn't a physical specimen, but
you know what?
We had Cam Newton 10 years ago.
Every year, every damn game, I had to sit through the announcer saying, comparing him to Cam Newton. Yeah, every game, and it was like, no, that's not what I see there.
Right? That's just in looks. I was gonna, I had to double check his college stats, but significantly better. I just looked it up. Significantly better than.
But the point is, physically what they kept focusing on the physical aspects, the build, and all this other stuff. They kept equating him to Cam Newton, and it's like, how can you do that? And O.C. Dobbins says that's a little much. I mean, between the comparison to Cam Newton or to that thing about making him the perfect specimen as a quarterback, it's. I mean, plus also that goes in the thing.
Cam Newton in his last year had 24 more touchdowns 25 more touchdowns than Anthony Richardson. So that's a little.
And Anthony Richardson had games with no touchdown passes and stuff. Mm-hmm. It really was crazy. So, hey, we got 11 people here. Suddenly I get on a rant. People show up. I love y'all hanging out with us tonight.
Everyone's here for the Dadman rant.
Yeah. So, hey, hit that sub and hit that like button. But yeah, it's this article really hits the nail on the head, because having been a Florida fan, watching this year, everybody's so fascinated on the physical tools of it. And because like it says in the article a little further down, that they in a league that values accuracy, where passing windows are tight, combination of coverage is full, Tom Brady until the last throw of his career, college quarterback can complete 53.8% of his passes, will increase that number by 10 to 15% playing against the best players in the world. Yes, exactly. Because I'm not kidding. Flat passes were in the ground. They were fucking 10 yards over their heads at times. I mean, the game against Kentucky, at the end of the first half, Napier was aggressive. They tried to get the ball out of there, and he basically hands the ball to the Kentucky defender, maybe about 20-yard line, but Kentucky ending up at the Florida 6-yard line. It's a pretty much easy touchdown at that point. Then, trying to get back into the game, he throws across the field, pick six, and it was a bad throw. Anybody knew you don't want to throw the friggin' football in that case. But, but that's not the worst part of it. It's the damn Hail Marys that don't even go in the end zone. They go out of bounds, past the end zone, got in the friggin', it might as well have been the damn booth with the Philly mole rats or whatever they got, Oakland mole rats, whatever they got in the booth with them. But and that was what was so frustrating as a Florida fan to have to do that. And what made it worse was the backup quarterback never got a shot. But then again, that's another issue that I do not want to talk about. So now you got a train wreck at Florida. No quarterbacks. My God, they went and got a quarterback from Wisconsin. Nothing says surrender like getting a quarterback from the University of Wisconsin to me. But and also the article points out other statistical measures. I like with this article. It talks positive. It also talks the real numbers with them too. Oh my God, we still got started pooping. Hey, thank you. Okay, hopefully I'm getting y'all all happy with the rant finally at the end of the night. But listen, this stuff here is what we had to sit through all year. Like I said here, he ranked 121st in completion rate versus pressure, 38%. Is going to magically extend plays with athleticism and make critical throws. He had a 60.4% completion rate when not under pressure. 138th among all FBS quarterbacks, the starters, and backups. Of course, this is the problem with the NFL mentality and the way they do this stuff, is that you got to look beyond the numbers and look at specific down and distance throws and evaluate based on what can be if he's further developed. My God, how many damn quarterbacks over the years have been drafted based on what could be, and they sucked? I mean, the league's full of examples of the quarterbacks that you could see. I'm not just picking on him here. I don't think Will Levis is a first-round draft pick either. I saw nothing with Kentucky's playing in the last 2 years with him to warrant this. He's got to be a first-round pick. So, but you got really quiet there for a second. So, oh, okay. But this whole thing, you're paying these guys millions of dollars to come out based on what what you're hoping that they can do, and like they're hoping he's like Trey Lance, who played one season, start one game of another season. But if you look at how that worked out for the 49ers, who moved up to number 3 overall in the 2021 draft to take Lance and gave up 2 first-round picks and another third-rounder to make it happen. A year later, the 49ers took a flyer on Iowa State quarterback Brock Purdy with the last pick of the 2022 draft. Mr. Irrelevant became the friggin' starter for the San Francisco 49ers when the highly selected draft pick did nothing, and you're going to that obsession of talent, instead of what you've seen. And that's what we're going to see, how a common theme in this article as we finish it. Of course, they talk to you about that he was not put in good positions to succeed at Florida. I understand that, and I agree with that. I constantly criticized Gillespie's coach, and still not sure if it's Florida, SEC available. Yeah, I think we. Oh my gosh, yeah, rampage. Hey, but they blamed Florida offense as archaic and predictable, and there was some of that. The team that played the offensive game plan against Tennessee and Texas A&M was not what they ran other games in the year. So I do concede that, but I also know when games when they tried, there were a lot of bad throws, a lot of inaccuracy. But this is the NFL draft mentality that they're defending that player, that he wasn't as coached well, or create opportunities for easier throws. And I've heard that said about the NFL is, well, we can coach them. There's an ego thing with coaching players of different talent. But then again, the line comes back in the article. Again, don't tell me what my eyes have seen. The writer had referenced at Louisiana, he turned a quarterback, 5'10", 180 quarterback, no star, into the best quarterback in the conference. Dan Mullen took Alex Smith at Utah, Chris Leak and Tim Tebow at Florida, Dak Prescott at Mississippi State, and Kyle Trask at Florida. but he couldn't make it work with Richardson his first year. So, all right. Yeah. Oh my gosh. You're leaving already? Hey. Well, thanks for coming by, Patrick. And good for you, Daisy. Yay. Oh man. So basically here, the whole thing gets back to athletic ability, development, things like that. You know, but still you got to read the defenses, manipulating cornerbacks and safeties to throw them off. It can be coached and stuff like that. And as our article, the writer here said that they're close. They're willing to believe that Richardson is much closer to a project turned superstar like Josh Allen out of Buffalo. Although I don't know, there are people that are very critical of Josh Allen. They ain't done the playoff. We'll see, but more that way than a project turned bust Jamarcus Russell. But as our author concluded, but don't tell me what my eyes saw the past 2 seasons. So that is what I hear. Absolutely. So don't tell me what I saw. I saw a lot of crap last year. I will honestly say I saw some of the shittiest football I've ever seen as a Gator fan last year. And it was hard to watch. It truly, truly was hard to watch. It was not competitive. It was not entertaining in many games. So, but then again, it was more of a team issue, not just the quarterback, but but we'll see. The point being, he's good for him. Hey, if he gets drafted up that high, or even gets drafted second, more power to him. Wish him luck. Hopefully the career happens. Good NFL quarterback, and I'll eat my words, because I'm not great at picking things anyway. Like Whoopa beat me right this year. Right, Whoopa?
That's right. Don't forget.
Hey, yeah. I started this last night when it was on Lorena's show. I think on her show, I went on a rant about something too. More Dadman rants. All right. Love it. There you go.
Yeah.
Maybe the Gators need to make into shoes and handbags.
I agree with a lot of what you said.
Mhm.
I think if he was picked in like the late first round, it would make sense. 4th overall. Yeah. I think everyone wants to recreate Josh Allen. And honestly, I'm still shocked that Josh Allen became a good quarterback. I thought he was doomed. But, reality is most of these projects don't work out. And I think people will yes,
you got welcome back.
I think people lump people like Anthony Richardson in the same boat as a Cam Newton or a Lamar Jackson. But the difference is both those guys had amazing college careers. The question wasn't, are they good enough? The question is their game going to translate? Anthony Richardson, the question is, are they good enough? Is he good enough? I think he could easily end up just like Malik Willis, who already looks like the Tennessee's moving on from. And it's just you've got to have a Buffalo situation where Josh Allen was bad for 2 years. He was just playing bad, and I don't know how they ended up making him work, but they did. You got to get lucky, and you got to be willing to work around this guy. But the one thing I say, and the thing then this is why, to me, if I'm getting someone. If I'm looking at my fantasy draft, I've only got the top 2 guys. But Anthony Richardson, at the very least, I can kind of understand what people see in him in the sense that 450 yards versus Tennessee. He's got 2 games where he had another 400-yard game versus Vanderbilt. And he had 2 games with 100 rushing yards against LSU and Utah. Both, Utah won the Pac-12. LSU was one of the better teams in the SEC.
In fairness, that was a game the defense lost.
Yeah, it's like those were
good
the problem is, I think it was good.
But the thing is, when it was that 400-yard against Vanderbilt was deceptive because they could not score enough to win, and even though when he was statistically successful, did not always translate to offensive productivity to be able to win. I mean, you can pad numbers and stats like crazy on some games, and some of those were deceiving because if you watch if you really watch the game, it just looked like it was an overrated 400 or something. It just was not efficient. It did not result in the team scoring touchdowns and to win the game.
Yeah,
So
I get you, and I'm not saying he should be drafted highly. I'm just saying, he's at least got those performances, and it is backed up with a 33% completion versus Florida State, which is awful.
yeah,
But I'm just saying, like, at least you can see, well, this is probably what the scouts are looking for.
yeah,
Not that I agree, but that I can see
yep,
the stuff. I don't understand what people see in Will Levis at all. Like, look at his
yeah.
performances. We can talk about, Anthony Richardson had 2 400-yard receiving games, and he had 100-yard rushing games. You can say, well, he's got all the physical talents, and that doesn't necessarily translate, but you can see what they're talking about. Will Levis had 3 games where he passed for over 300 yards. Those games were versus these juggernauts. Now, make sure you're sitting down.
Hey, folks, here comes a Whooper rant. Now we got a Whooper rant. Come on, Whooper.
But he got 300 yards against the juggernaut that is Miami of Ohio, Division II Youngstown State, and Northern Illinois. Those are his 300-yard games.
Wow.
He didn't have any other 300-yard games. What are you looking for? He had 2 games left, and I know he had a decent stats in his decent rushing stats in his junior year.
Yeah,
but they're just decent. And this year he had 2. I know it's deceiving because they count the sacks as negative yards in college, but despite that, he had 2 games where he had positive rushing yards. So 2 games where he got more rushing yards than negative sack yards. That's awful.
Yeah,
it's just really bad. So it's just what I don't understand. At least with Anthony Richardson, if I put my money down, I would probably say it's gonna, Anthony Richardson's gonna be a bust. But at least I can see what they see in him.
yeah.
Will Levis is like, what's good about him? What's the thing that you're like, oh yeah, this is the guy.
What does he have? Like a super powerful cannon arm, or is he like a sprinter or stuff? Yeah, and I do, and that's a good point, and I do agree. I will say I'm biased a bit because I had to sit through a lot of bad Gator football, and the quarterback position was a lot of frustrating. I do understand and agree with Matt Hayes here is that, or the criticism from the scouts is that the Florida coaching staff sucked. Really, they didn't know what the freaking hell they're doing, and you put him in a bad situation. They get bad play calls. It was shitty play calling. That Missouri game, there was no sprint out. I mean, there were games they wouldn't friggin' design running, and if his legs are part of his damn arsenal to make him better, they handicapped him by trying to either make him pocket pass or put him in 3rd and long constantly instead of using his ability to do both things. Why have a versatile multiple purpose quarterback if you're not going to play to his strengths, if you're not going to call the offense? And that was a good thing here. But the problem was the bats were so bad when they happen. When you miss a guy from 5 yards because you throw it 10 yards over him, you give the ball to the other defender, you throw a clear pick 6 because or you throw a Hail Mary last play of the game, but you don't give yourself a chance to win because you've thrown it in the damn stadium. Those are the things I get, but I do agree with you, and that's a very good point. He has upside. He has talent. It's just will it happen? I don't understand though taking him 4th overall just on a hope. That's to me. That's where I'm so worked up with that is, that high. Will Levis, I agree with you, shouldn't even be a 1st-round quarterback because of what we've seen. Very vanilla, but he should be maybe 3rd round at best because what has he won in the SEC? Nothing. I mean, they challenged Georgia last year, but that's it, but nothing spectacular. At least, and Richardson has done some spectacular things, had those big old performances. So But
Yeah,
I do agree with you.
it's
That's a good point, though. Levis, just why?
yeah. Will Levis is just like this guy. I don't know. And hey, I'll admit I haven't watched him play a ton, but you just look at the stats, and at
Yeah.
some point you think, well, you'd see something, and you just don't. And yeah, Anthony Richardson, to me, he just seems a lot like Malik Willis, but at a better school.
Yeah.
Liberty, not exactly impressing anyone in the Sun Belt.
Yeah.
Uh, but they seem like the same player. Oh, look at all this talent, and I'll say, I think Malik Willis's game tape was pretty deceiving because there were so many times where it's like, oh man, look, he threw this ball 80 yards.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, but he got lucky that wasn't picked off. Like he's lucky that he's playing, a really bad team secondary because it totally was right to the defender and the receiver just got, was able to make a play because
Absolutely.
the defensive guy let up some slack. But yeah, it's just
Absolutely. So
at least you're drafting for the upside. I just don't see the upside on Will Levis at all.
no, I know.
He reminds me of, while we're bringing the comparisons, you're talking about Trey Lance, which that was another guy I would say similar, of like, well, it's pretty risky.
San Francisco draft, they moved up to get that pick in the third spot. Again, they traded 2 first-round choices for the ability to move up.
Yeah, and I think, I can think that's a pretty good comparison. But I think of this as, maybe Will Levis is like Zach Wilson. I know he went second overall, but that was always a guy where it's like, I guess he did have a pretty good senior year, but it was like, really? Like he's, who do you... I'm going back and looking now because I remember looking at this when I was drafted, but it's like, man, well, he didn't play anyone. Like you're ranking him because he beat these no-name colleges or whatever. I just didn't see it. I don't know.
Absolutely. So, well, wow, Whoopa.
We went pretty far. We went
a
little bit over an hour and a half.
Yeah, we did. We went an extra hour. Hey, but we must have done something. Snortopoopas is still with us. Hey. And 9 people we got here. Whoop, 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 rant. All right.
Whoop, whoop.
Man, I tell you, wait till Friday night. We might hear the real Whoopa rant Friday night. So
you might.
Absolutely.
No one's safe from the Whoopa rant.
Hey, let it fly. I mean, hey, man, we'll see how it goes. So, yeah. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and wrap it up here. Thank you. Yeah, you are, my friend. Yeah, you are. Appreciate you staying up so late for us tonight. And well, we're going to end this here. What I'm going to, let me see. I need to check something real quick. See if there's any screens that I need to bring up. But Whoopa, tell us a little bit about what you got going on, or what's up with you these days? Are you still making your shorts or something?
Not really anymore. I was making some shorts. I have some random joke ideas, but I stopped with the XFL stuff because they weren't doing as good. And I figured, hey, I mostly was just making those because I wanted some content to make, and I figured I'll do something. But then now we can talk about that on your channel, so I can just use you to talk about stuff.
Oh, that's okay, because I tell you what, I love chatting with you, Whoopa. It's a lot of fun, and with these great people in the chat, you guys really make this. Seeing all y'all out here, we had as many between 8 and 15, and 80 y'all still with us. I know it's late at night. We've gone 2.5 hours, and y'all stayed with us. And thank you for choosing to be here. And yeah, you're still here, Daisy, I guess. So
I think so.
And go watch Matt Mitchell's SEC roll call 2023. Pretty funny.
Oh, I think that might be good.
That will have to be good. That will have to be good. I know there's some different other parody things out there, really, really fun to watch and stuff, and quite interesting. So, thank you for being here. Like I said, we're actually, I'm considering doing a Fortnite stream in about 10 or 15 minutes. I need to take a break, stand up, walk around, and just go into some Fortnite. It'll be the last stream for a few days, and like I said, these great mods have been with me since last Sunday on so many streams, a few days off, and that would mean our next stream will be after that would be Friday night at 8 p.m. We're going to talk XFL football, and we're going to preview the playoff matchups that are coming up and talk about what happened this last week. Unfortunately, not a good week for Whoopa's St. Louis team, but especially with the weird tiebreaker rules that are here in this league, it's very, very interesting. So, it'll be an interesting time. And let's see if we can get a Whoopa. We'll see if we can get a Whoopa rant too on Friday night. So
we'll see.
Exactly. And like as always, find the live stream, find the replays on YouTube here at Dadman Walking 55, on Twitch, Dadman Walking 55. Hit those like buttons. Make sure you follow us on Twitch. Well, we got to go find more bodies because apparently YouTube zapped me during the stream. So we went backwards, but hey, we'll go forwards, upward, and onwards. And you know what? Because of great people like you, follow me on Twitter at DadmanWalking55. Thank you so many people for here. Daisy, thank you for the compliments. And it makes me feel great that y'all are here. O.C. Dobbins, great to see you, my friend. And it's great to see somebody with, also loving sports out here too. So, Whoopa, thank you again, sir, for your time tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Right.
Hope we look forward to some more XFL streams.
Absolutely.
And some Fortnite to watch.
All right. Well, in about 10 or 15 minutes, I'm going to go live on Fortnite. I just got to take a break, stretch a little bit. I think if Lisa's still up for it, we'll at least have Lisa with us, and we'll see who else joins us, and at least play for an hour or so. Who knows what? Maybe get have another evening party. And you know what? Sort of Poopus, thank you so much, sir, for being here. Thank you so much, and you're welcome to, Lisa. Thank you again. And on that note, everybody, thank you very much. Thank you for being here and giving us your Monday night. And I tell you what, you really are encouraging by being here for this going forward. And I appreciate it, my friends. And we will catch you hopefully very soon. And if not, see you Friday. Bye, all.